So I was told, not that this really matters. This is just for fun, for funsies. But I was told that I cut off the Dick Pag Patrol stream because I guess Darcy kept rambling on about me for like another like 10 minutes or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how long it was. I was given timestamps, but I don't really care. But we're going to be playing this, and I don't know if we'll be laughing. I'm kind of tired right now. I've been doing yard work all day because no one else will do it. Mainly, we'll get going on this, and then we're going to go into a little bit of Michael Ehline until I can't stand him anymore, and then I'll call it. I am going to be every half hour or so. I have to stop. All I'm doing now is watering, and I just got to move sprinklers around. So, sorry. So let's get the Darcy's butthurt out of the way first.
To respond to Merb's response to your proposal, I got a couple things to say about it personally.
Yeah, let me hear you guys.
And yeah, because, we did go over this.
Have you seen it?
I thought I was actually solving the problem because
you have to know.
I thought I was solving the problem.
Merb.
The things he said are I mean, when it comes to his legal insight on stuff, I've generally agreed with him on a lot of things. But for example, he says if you monetize your channel, I'm like, dude, I made $1,100 on this thing in 2 years. Okay, it cost me more to do one video than this thing could ever make. All right, and then I donate the money to charities.
I'm just gonna let this stuff kind of play. I have already responded to it, or at least I think I have. Until we get to new stuff, apparently there's new stuff. Apparently there is a lot more butthurt.
Okay, and he's like, "Well, you going to show your tax returns?" No, I'm not going to show my tax returns. Why do I need to do that? Why can't I just send money? Okay, and then the super chat, I thought, well, okay, I've never done the super chat. I don't give a shit about the money. I'll just give that away too. And it seemed to draw a complaint from him. And then he kept pronouncing my name like duh RC. Like first of all, dude, this is the name I was given. Okay, so what's the point of making fun of it?
This is Merb.
The point of making fun of it is that it gets to you. That's why. That's why people, generally speaking, will do things like that. It's literally to insult you. I don't know why you don't understand that, Darcy. Or
I don't wear Van Heusen shirt.
See, I just attempted to insult you. Now, if you don't get insulted, then it loses all of its power, and I and others like me will forget about it and move along. But if it hurts your fifis, then expect it to continue.
Sure, it's okay. They outlawed those in 1970. All right.
Yikes, the Van Heusen insult.
Someone looking at me would think I was a lawyer. Okay, right? And at least I have an office. I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know. I only see him in his car.
The back pedal. At least I have an office. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't seen it. The fucking back pedal.
Dude, I've had 34 trials. Okay, arguing with lawyers is part of the thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to respond tit for tat for this guy, but I was kind of blown away.
That's what he wants.
That's the important thing. I'm not going to respond tit for tat. But apparently, how long was my video? Let's just for shits and giggles, let's figure out how long my video was, because this started at 8:47, and my video was your channel. We'll just see how long. 14 minutes and 18 seconds is how long my video was. So we'll see if they can maintain this. That'll get them to about 23 minutes or so.
The best thing you can do is just ignore him. That's what he wants.
As far as I'm concerned now, he's invisible. I'm not even going to listen to anything he has to say. I'm going to do what he does with me. I treat people as they treat me. So I had subscribed to his channel. I'm probably just going to unsubscribe because I don't really give a shit now. I mean, there were so many other ways you could handle.
He can't even commit to that because he needs my fucking legal insight. I have not watched this guy. I watched one video and then like 10 seconds of another video. I'm guessing this guy scrapes my channel for my fucking legal insight and then repackages it with a tie.
Handle it. Oh, hey, Pat, I don't want you in this thing because you're a lawyer and I want a retired judge. I know what he said, but retired judges are also lawyers. Okay. And then he said, well, you're biased. I'm not biased. I said I would be completely neutral. I'm saying, in fact, see, that's the difference between, making just snap judgments. I said, as a former prosecutor, and I don't know that he ever was one, so I have some expertise in this, that I have never seen that charge ever brought, ever. And there's a reason for it.
So he goes from talking about how his bias was apparent to why he said the statement he said. Never says why Ehline should accept him as unbiased. Never says why what he says was unbiased. He just gives the grounds for what he said. Okay, great. Congratulations.
Under 653F, the penal code makes solicitation a crime for serious felonies, strike offenses, and things like that. Something I would know something about. Okay. So I was trying to be neutral and being neutral by saying, I look forward to what Mr. Ehline has to say about this. That's as neutral as you can get. And because it's not.
No, as neutral as you can get is to not say anything at all regarding 653F, not saying anything at all about never having seen it. As neutral as you could get would be to actually go in there blind, like an actual neutral would. An actual neutral would only know from the two parties what the two parties' positions are. I mean, the neutral might do his own research and look up case law and things like that. But a true neutral wouldn't roll in there and like start talking about how I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, sorry.
The law. How else can I say it? I can't say you're going to lose. I'm going to say, give me your best shot. I'll give you 20 pages and 15 more to make your arguments. I just want them compliant with California rules of court. I'm assuming Merv knows what that's all about. Trial lawyers know that, and he's having a trial, so he would obviously know what I was talking about. I didn't want, a mishmash of, kind of like a.
Actually, even non-trial lawyers know about the California rules of court because they apply to everything from the format of the paperwork to like what good cause is for something. Like good cause to continue a trial. There's a California rule of court that says specifically what good cause, what specific things would consist of good cause, right? So even if you're not a trial attorney, if you are doing any real practice of the law, like even if you're just preparing pleadings for another attorney, you're going to know what the California rules of court are.
I wanted structure to it, and that's why I had all that stuff in there. Now maybe that would turn him off, but that would be an easy day for me as a trial lawyer to only have to comply with that. And as far as the $5,000, believe me, it's going to cost me more than $5,000 to deal with this. I'm going to issue an opinion. I was going to, and the opinion would be a testament to whether or not I knew what I was talking about, and most likely it would include cases that they didn't find. So I wasn't expecting to get blasted for it, but I have a feeling this is what he does. Okay.
I wasn't expecting to get blasted for it. Well, see, if you weren't retarded, you would have realized that I saw your initial post in my comment section. You'd have realized I saw it because I hearted it. That means I've read it. I've explained this before. It doesn't mean I agree with it, I like it, endorse it. It means I've read it. So if he wasn't a retard, Darcy, he wouldn't have put out a public video. I mean, you demanded my attention, dude. You demanded it, and you got it.
Because it's not, to me, a normal reaction. It's not. And the whole structure that he took, he says, you don't know Colin? I don't know Colin. Okay, I don't know Project Constitution. I did receive an email inquiry from him maybe about a week or so ago, but I didn't know who the guy is. I've never spoken to him. And I guess he thinks that I'm in some kind of, I don't know, like I have some kind of knowledge about this guy and that we've interacted.
I specifically said little birds told me that's what was going on. I don't know why. I said it might not even be true. If it's not true, why are you taking so much fucking umbrage to it? If it's not true, just say like, look, I've never talked to the dude before. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know this guy. Like who, I don't even know who you're really talking about, dude. But you didn't. You got defensive. Why'd you get defensive, Darcy? Why'd you get defensive, bro? Like, if you said, hey, John, you're paying too much attention to Colin, I'd be like, no, I'm not. He's a piece of shit. End of story. Done. People said you're paying too much attention to Colin, John. Yeah, people say a lot of stupid shit. I don't. Move on. He's real defensive over it.
Action has been one email from him to me, and I didn't even know who the guy was. And
going into like, oh, it's been one email, like a little too defensive, bro.
Believe it or not, Merv, people actually reach out to me. Okay,
Yeah, but I didn't reach out to you, dude. You might have missed that little fucking nugget. I didn't reach out to you. You reached out to me twice. I didn't reach out to you until, well, you kind of made me. But you make a public offer, I make a public rejection.
They do. And I do not use this platform to promote my law firm. Believe me, I am not looking for clients. Okay. And I don't get clients
I think we have dispelled that myth. Your name and your law firm and your contact information are up on your channel. So I'm going to say, yes, you do.
from YouTube. I don't. The clients that call me, they're looking at business litigation cases. Okay. They're looking at real estate cases. And I have.
Well, it's interesting. Maybe it was, maybe my little bird of a feather was mistaking dickbag for Darcy. I don't know.
Plenty of clients that I've got enough work to keep me very busy. This is just fun to do. I like the community that we've established. I like sharing ideas. I could be wrong about something, learn new perspectives. To me, it's cool. And I'm actually learning.
Well, see, I'm sure Darcy knows that nothing I said is actionable for defamation. So that's probably why.
How to do video editing. I'm getting better, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, not at your level, but good enough to pass. So, yeah. Merv can have his opinion. It's okay. God bless you. Stay the angry, uptight dude that you are. I love you for it. But, you and I have nothing more to talk about. Okay.
Yeah, it was an odd response. And I won't, I don't know how many of the audience.
You heard it here, folks. He loves me. It's true love. I get to be Romeo. You have to play Juliet.
Have seen it. I won't subject you to it again, Patrick. So we'll wait because I got one or two things to say about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here that are familiar with Merv, and this is nothing new.
Yeah.
See, again, I don't know because I don't watch. Dick. I honestly don't watch Dickbag Patrol. I've seen like every once in a while somebody that I do watch, like Josh will put a Dickbag Patrol video in his on his comment section, and I'll click on it like thinking it's Josh's video, but it wouldn't be, So I saw a video about Ehline that Dickbag Patrol did because Josh had it in his comments. That's about it. Anthony, Mr. Caruso. Mom, I'm recording. Yeah. Well, I don't know that anybody wants you in their Discord, Fishfart. I don't know though. I'm sure that someone here could probably push you in the right direction, right? DP and FW are candy asses. Dickbag Patrol and Frauditor Wrangler? I didn't think that Dickbag Patrol liked Frauditor Wrangler. I mean, I've seen him in Josh's chats in the comments for Josh, and I thought he was pretty anti Frauditor Wrangler, but whatever. I guess everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, was he the guy who was coming into my comment section one time? There was a time when someone was coming into my comment section and like getting all upset about Chili driving while streaming, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. And they got all like ass mad about it. I wonder if that was Dickbag Patrol. I don't remember. It was somebody. Oh, you meant Frauditor Ram? I have zero knowledge of Frauditor Ram. Zero knowledge of him other than what I've heard in this short little clip. And I mean, he just seems like a dude. So I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they are.
I mean, it was unnecessary and unnecessarily petty, if I just want to sum it up real quickly, and then I can talk about it later in depth.
I think it was necessary and necessarily petty. especially the part about how, number one, he's not a fucking judge, and I was looking for a retired judge, and the part about number two, he's fucking biased. Not only is he biased, but Ehline knows him to be biased, and like biased against Chili, and therefore biased against Ehline by extension. So
He's off of it.
After Pascal. Yeah, I really hate even having somebody just said that Ehline declined on his live stream and then he was mouthing off about me on his live stream. It's like, all right, man. I noticed he didn't post any comments on my last video, which that was a habit of his. And again, I never said nothing to the guy. He came over and started being a wise guy on my channel first. I just responded. So I don't like even giving this kind of crap airtime. You know, it's just stupid. It's just like, what's happening? But whatever.
You know,
Just here for the comments. He said,
my advice.
the real question is, Pat, do you like
But go ahead. I'm interrupting. There's a
That's
delay.
inside.
Go ahead.
man, would you like? I don't know. It seems to me that most attorneys are a lot more assertive than Darcy. That's interesting, but whatever. He is a guest on someone else's panel, so maybe he's doing that. I shouldn't nitpick, right?
Sorry, there's a delay.
No, I was laughing at just here for the comments. He said the real question here is, Pat, do you like mayo?
Well,
It's a Merv thing.
He said something that was really cool. He said that he was at Carl's Jr. today.
Now I want to be very specific. I don't like the mass-produced generic mayo. It's flavorless. It's pointless. Why would I put that on my food? Why would I eat a glob of soybean oil? I mean, I'm fat enough as it is. If I'm going to eat fat, I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy what I eat. And mayo does not give me that sense of enjoyment. Homemade mayo has flavor to it. That may sound strange. If you've never had real, fresh, homemade mayo, it's flavorful. It's delicious. I mean, I'm not suggesting that I would eat a mayonnaise sandwich, but like tuna salad or egg salad or chicken salad, macaroni salad made with real homemade mayo, it's delightful. It's not just a greasy, bland, kind of overly sweet mess. It has flavor to it. If I'm going to put it on if I am going to put it on a sandwich, like a BLT, everybody's like, hey, you got to have mayonnaise on a BLT. Yeah. Normally I don't eat BLTs because I don't like that gross mass produced mayonnaise, but a glob of fresh mayonnaise on there. Yeah. So it's not, I guess I'm not really anti mayonnaise. I just find that the mass produced mayonnaise is gross. Does that make me a terrible person? And by extension, that means like pretty much any fast food I get is not going to have mayonnaise on it.
For the famous, not the famous star, whatever.
Yeah.
I was actually a Carl's Jr. I've been eating.
I dated a girl once who would dip her fries in mayonnaise. Like she would, like, you take her out to eat and she'd like ask for like an extra side of, they'd be like, you want ketchup with that? And she'd ask for mayonnaise and she'd dip her fries in mayonnaise. I was like, whoa.
The famous star since the days of high school, when Carl's Jr. was considered more expensive, and it is more expensive than McDonald's. And I actually wanted to treat myself to a famous star with cheese. So it is ironic that we both ate at Carl's Jr. today. One more thing I will add to you, Merv. I was part of the group that helped put together Carl Karcher's enterprises and getting them out of bankruptcy. That's the kind of shit that I do. So you could eat there, but I put the deals together.
That was such a fucking shitty. That was so stupid. That slam was so dumb. Okay.
There you go. It's burger time. Subera, member for 2 months, and Pascat's member for 2 months. Thank you all very much. Yeah. What's the newest Chili phone call? Did I listen to this? Oh, I did. And of course, I've completely forgotten what the heck it was about.
For those of you wondering, this is bubbly. It is the mango flavored. Apparently I did. And you know what? I'm not even a little bit remorseful. I had people jump into my comment section, like literally asking me to apologize. Like, Who the fuck are you that you think I would give a shit about what you wanted me to do? Number one. And number two, have you met me before? Like, if I think I'm wrong, I will mea culpa. I will apologize if I think I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. And I haven't heard anything yet from these three stooges to suggest that I otherwise would be wrong.
So do you guys feel like sitting through that, Pat, or do you want to field some questions from people? Or
Yeah, let me say this. I do not pay for the lawyer awards that I've received. Okay, I don't pay for them.
Oh, we're now in new territory.
Martindale Hubble ranked me in the top 5% of all attorneys in California. And that
Martindale Hubble. How would they know? How would they know who the top 5 attorneys are? How would they know? Either you pay for it, or what's that? They have somewhere like you can nominate people that you know, and then like if they get enough votes, I don't even know how that works, but how would they know? What metric makes a good attorney? What metric would make a good attorney? And how would you be able to like extend that metric out to all kinds of lawyers? Like getting a good settlement. Well, that might apply to family law and civil and personal injury, but like probate, you can never be like a great probate if settlements are how the metric is worked out. What about winning at trial? Well, like how hard like probate, you almost never go to trial. Bankruptcy, you never go to trial. Well, almost never, I guess. I guess there could be a contested bankruptcy, but it's not that common. Most bankruptcy lawyers that I know won't represent. They when you retain them, you only retain them for the filing. They won't do any of the contested. So what metric is used? Like, is specifically what metric would be used that whatever that group was would be able to, because settlements, you don't know how good of a settlement you get your client, or the court doesn't know how good of a settlement you get the client. No one else does, especially if it's a private settlement, if there's a non-disclosure agreement, right? So like, what metric could they possibly use other than how much you pay them, or how many of your friends get to vote for you? Yeah, I mean, so it's either you pay for it, or it's like it's just a popularity contest thing. So I don't know. Apparently, time for me to move stuff around. So what are we gonna do? We gotta put something on that will let's see. I could do a present video file. And all files. There we go.
Mr. Caruso is well, he's not like the kids over at the Welsh News Network. He's not a
I told no. I told you I wanted to vacuum and dust this room. No. Get out.
Hang on one second. Mr. Caruso is well, he's not like the kids over at the Welsh News Network. He's not a
I told, no, no. I told you I wanted to vacuum and dust this room. No. Get out.
hang on 1 second.
All right. Sorry about that. It was not to move a sprinkler. I have a sprinkler going in the front yard and a sprinkler going in the backyard. It was to move 2 sprinklers. And technically, I stopped one that was on a tripod, whatever, and I switched to a different hose with a different head on it. So, sir and or madam. All right, back to this nonsense. Oh, we were talking about, yeah, it's either a popularity contest or or purchasing it. So which was it?
It had nothing to do. I didn't pay for that. Super lawyers, it's a coveted award, Merv, because you'll see the big law firms like the one I used to work at. I don't think you've ever worked at a big firm, but the big firm I work at and all the others, that's a designation that they put on their bios because it's a peer review and 5% of the lawyers and above get it. So I don't
And it doesn't.
It's a peer review. It's a peer review. Okay, so let's analyze that. So another lawyer said, "Oh, you're a good lawyer," and you got enough other lawyers to say you're a good lawyer. Well, I can understand why a big law firm would have that because they would have a bunch of lawyers, and you'd have enough lawyers that you could swing the tally or whatever. But think about how it would be in real life if you didn't have a big law firm with a bunch of lawyers to swing the little vote, right? Top 5%. That means that other attorneys have to think that you are a good attorney. Now, there are some attorneys out there that I do think are good attorneys, right? There are some attorneys where I'm like, yeah, this guy's a good attorney. Good attorneys, in my opinion, are able to get cases settled. So if I'm going up against someone who I think is a good attorney, that means that I think that it's very likely that he and I are going to get this case settled, right? Bad attorneys tend to have real problems getting cases settled. But that's my subjective kind of analysis. There's lots of aspects to being an attorney. There's client control. There's giving your client advice. There is your billing practices, like how much does it cost for simple matters to get taken care of? How available are you to listen to your clients' concerns and answer their questions? There's a lot of things that, so like how could another attorney who has no access to my confidential communications with my client, who has no access to like what kind of settlements I get on any cases other than the cases I have with him, who has like, how could you subjectively evaluate another attorney on what basis that would make it a more or less objective valuation that would translate? I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. This is bullshit that people put on their little bios that doesn't say that they do any better or worse than anybody else, but it cons suckers. You throw up enough like awards and shit. The very first lawyer that I worked for, he had all sorts of stuff up on his walls, right? And he had a good point. He's like, when you have a client come into your office, they want to know, number one, that you're well established, number two, that you know what you're talking about, and number three, that you're respected, right? So the way he showed it was he had his Supreme Court of California bar admittance. He had a couple others up on his wall, but he had a lot of oh god, what's the name of that charitable kind of thing? It's not Lions Club. It's kind of like the Lions Club, but it's not. Why can't I remember the name of it? Anyway, so that's how he showed like Rotary. Thank you, Mountain Man 2. Rotary, my man knows. So that's kind of the way he showed like that he was respectable, that he basically latched on to people's opinions about Rotary for his own. And so I get it. I understand marketing wise, sure, it's a great thing, but it's not like you show this to me, another attorney, like you're fucking selling yourself to me, and I'm like go fuck yourself, bro. Like I literally don't give a shit. The only way you could even slightly sway me is if you showed me that you were a certified legal specialist in the field that I'm dealing with. So like a certified family law specialist, if I'm up against one, I know that they're going to have more of case law on point. It's going to be right there, because in order to get that, you have to objectively do some things. Like you have to objectively do more continuing learning education in that particular area, and you have to have like verified a specific number of cases in that practice per year. So that means you're constantly being kind of drenched in that particular topic. It's going to be very fresh to mind. I almost forgot to set my timer. Nobody fucking reminded me. Thanks a lot. So that's like, yeah. So all of his little things, do not care. Doesn't make you a good attorney. In fact, I've known a lot of shitty attorneys, what I consider to be shitty attorneys, that have those kind of things in their bios. Doesn't Ehline have dumb shit in his bios? Law Office of Michael Ehline. Ehline Law Firm. Award-winning. What awards has he won? What awards has he won? He says he's award-winning. Oh, look at this. National Top 100 Trial Lawyers. Would you fucking look at that? Super Lawyers. California Bar Journal. Lexus. Martindale Hubbard peer review rated for ethical standards and legal ability. Have I made my fucking point? Have I made my point? This is Ehline's. Ehline, who I haven't watched the video, but I had a lot of people asking me about it in my Discord, so I'm going to go over it. But look at all the awards that Ehline has, right? Look at all the awards Ehline has. Which one of those awards does dumbass Darcy? Which one of those does Darcy have that is so super special that Ehline doesn't have it? You can't buy your way. How the fuck did Ehline get this shit? How the fuck did Ehline get this shit? Is Ehline a great attorney? Darcy? Is Ehline a great attorney? I mean, pick one. Do the fucking awards mean something or don't they? If they mean something, then why is Ehline such a piece of shit? If they don't mean something, then why does Ehline have the award? Pick one. Or it could be like what I'm saying, and these are all fucking bullshit, where you could buy them or get people to vote for you. They're garbage, dude. They're literally fucking garbage.
Anybody know? I don't even know. No.
Membership?
No, you can't buy your way in. So he can dismiss it.
And the two dipshits up at the top just we're just gonna go along with it. We're just gonna accept it. It's a really great award. That means you're a great attorney. Wait a minute. Why does Ehline have them? No, they don't even fucking check. They don't even fucking check. Or they'll fucking hand wave away why it means something for Darcy to have it, but it doesn't mean anything for Ehline to have it.
It is. Oh, you know,
That's why I'm so against all this tribalism bullshit. That's why I am so against it, because they stop looking critically at the people on their team, right? And then the people on their team, because they're not getting scrutinized, they say stupid shit.
no. What law school did he go to anyway? Anybody know? I don't even.
Oh, what? You're going to shame me for my law school? I went to McGeorge School of Law. I got a McLaw degree. Does that make you happy? Does that make me a better or worse lawyer? Darcy, you fucking subscribe to my channel. Darcy, you said you love me. Darcy, but now all of a sudden you have second thoughts about what law school I went to because I hurt your feelings because your panties are all in a bunch. Darcy, you dumb shit. What law school did you go to? I went to one that made me a better fucking lawyer than you are. Darcy, how about that?
I know his name, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's murder.
Yeah, I'm only judging, what his behavior that I've seen, and I had an interaction with him as well.
I had an interaction with Dickbag Patrol. Apparently, it was forgettable for me. I didn't know anything about it. I can't wait to hear this.
I called him out in a couple of videos about it because I was and somebody else earlier. I think it was Glober Mom. She said she videos
You called
about
me
it
out in videos. Well, I don't watch your videos, Dickbag Patrol. So you calling me out in your videos, you might as well be jerking off into the mirror. I don't see it.
I was and somebody else earlier. I think it was Glober Mom. She said she was just making it kind of her expressing her thoughts in one of his comment threads or something.
I'm drinking. Someone said I need to switch to decaf. It's hard to read. There's so much glare out here. Cans are remarkably hard to shade because there's light everywhere. The ingredients are carbonated water and natural flavors. So sorry, no caffeine. No caffeine, cranky elder god. So no. Yes, I am making fun of you. How about that? All right. Where were we?
Something, and he blasted her just kind of out of the blue. He went after unclean hands.
He blasted. Who did I blast out of the blue?
Glober Mom. She said she was about it because I was and somebody else earlier. I think it was Glober Mom. She said she.
Oh, his
What
name,
kind
quite
of sense
frankly.
was this?
Yeah, it's murder.
I'm only judging, what his behavior that I've seen, and I had an interaction with him as well. I called him out in a couple of videos about it because I was and somebody else
Again, I haven't seen these videos, but let's continue.
earlier. I think it was Glober Mom. She said she was just making it kind of her expressing her thoughts in one of his comment threads or something, and he blasted her just kind of out of the blue.
Oh, she was just expressing her thoughts, but I blasted her. She was just expressing her thoughts, but I blasted her. Notice how when she expresses her thoughts, she's just expressing her thoughts. But when I express my thoughts, I'm blasting her. Isn't that fucking weird? That's crazy, huh? It's crazy. These little double standards everywhere. Now, what did she say? What did she say that caused me to quote unquote blast her? Huh? What'd she say? Oh, you don't know? That's not fucking material at all. It's not relevant that she got blasted. We're not even going to look into it. We're just going to accept that she got blasted for no reason whatsoever, because I'm the kind of guy for no reason whatsoever to blast. I mean, I literally explained why I thought it was a mild criticism of Ehline. I thought it was mild. I didn't blast him. I didn't nitpick into the weeds. But Glober Mom, she just expressed her opinion, and I blasted her. I didn't express my opinion. I blasted her because there's a qualitative difference. If someone you don't like says something that you don't like, then it's blasting. If someone you like says something that someone you don't like doesn't like, Well, that's just expressing your opinion. The First Amendment is good for me, but not for thee.
Blue. I mean, he went after unclean hands.
Not that I'm saying that this is a First Amendment situation, but this is what we see, like with auditors. This is what we see with free speech generally. People really like free speech as long as it's their free speech, and people really don't much care for free speech if it's your free speech.
Comment threads or something, and he blasted her just kind of out of the blue. I mean, he went after
just kind of out of the blue.
Unclean hands too, which I didn't really appreciate. I mean,
well, I didn't really appreciate unclean hands fucking lying. He fucking lied. So I didn't appreciate that. I don't appreciate when people are making videos about the law and they're talking about the law and then they lie. I don't appreciate that. So why are my feelings not taken into consideration? And we're just going to allow unclean hands to lie like a fucking rug, but we're not going to, you know, it's fine if he lies, but you know, God help you, John, if you call him out for being a liar. Maybe you were a little too animated when you called him out, because I remember that video. I was fucking having a great old time. I was cranked. I was all hopped up on Mountain Dew, and I had a blast calling him out for being a liar, because I know that he's one of your little fucking sacred cows in your anti-frauditor community. I love calling out the sacred cows because all of your sacred cows are shit. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. I'll come at you like a spider monkey.
Look,
Yeah,
I'm sure Unclean Hands has gotten some things wrong, as have I, as have I'm sure all of us have. I know Merb has made.
Oh, wait a minute. He just got something wrong, guys. He didn't fucking lie. He just got something wrong. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy that he just got something wrong and didn't lie. If I remember it correctly, he was trying to shit on some auditor. He was trying to shit on some auditor's understanding of the law. Some auditor went to like a town meeting or something like that. And so, and I believe that the auditor had mentioned some law that doesn't exist. And so Unclean Hands found a web page that wasn't the law that talked about it. And so he pulls this thing up and, you know, he clips it so you can't see where the fuck he's getting this information from. And then he says, "Oh yeah, I did a bunch of research on it, and yeah, I mean, this is just one of many. There's a whole bunch of other case law on this or something on it, right?" And I had to fucking point out that he was fucking lying. He was literally lying. He didn't make a mistake. He lied. Like if he just says, "Hey, you know, I found this, blah blah blah," but he didn't. He added on to make it more credible. "Oh yeah, there's a bunch of other law out there on this." Which was a lie. He was wrong, and then he lied. If he was just wrong, I don't fucking watch him. I don't give two shits about this dude. I don't watch other YouTubers for their fucking shit takes on the law. I mean, I'll watch some people I find interesting. But generally speaking, I don't watch YouTube for shit takes from fucking laymen on the law. Are you the real frauditor, Ram? Well, you know, I don't really care if I offend someone who I feel deserves it. I'm going to offend it, and I'm going to give it all the intent and delivery I can. If I'm going to go and try to offend you, I'm going to make sure you good and goddamn well know I'm trying to offend you.
Made several videos where he says I got it wrong. So, and he said it right.
Wait.
All of us have. I know Merb has made several videos where he says I got it wrong.
Yeah, that should be your fucking clue, dickbag. That should be your fucking clue. If you get it wrong, just say I got it wrong. But don't lie. Like, what is the thing that gets me going? What is the thing that gets me ramped up? It's when people are fucking disingenuous. It's when people are lying. Why did I ban Lyncher? And I see he's back, but he's apparently being a good boy. Why is he gone? Because he was disingenuous as fuck. That's why I booted him. Couldn't ask an honest question to save his life. I don't like liars. I don't like being lied to. I don't like people thinking that they could lie to me. I don't like being played, manipulated. I don't like that shit. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Great. Move on. Nobody fucking cares. You're wrong, you say I'm wrong, and you move on. But don't fucking lie.
So, and he said it right in the video too. I'm a judgy type of person. Yeah, really. Yeah. We didn't notice, buddy.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I have noticed that. You didn't have to tell us that.
Yeah. And, I mean,
as these three motherfuckers are sitting here in judgment on me, as they're sitting here currently, as we're watching this in judgment on me, they're calling me out for being judgmental. Oh, pot calling the motherfucking kettle black. No, people find it entertaining if I ramp it up like this. So, I mean, do with that as you will. I was told specifically by Josh not to say Happy Memorial Day. Now, it has taken every fiber of my being to not say Happy fucking Memorial Day. It's taken every fiber of my being to not say Happy Memorial Day, specifically to Josh. Not that, I mean, I like Josh. I like Josh a lot. I really like Josh. I would suck it. Wait, no, I wouldn't. I mean, if I had enough beer, but I really like Josh. Like, I wouldn't go to a bar with him, but like, I'd hang out with the dude in a minute. I like Josh. But, I want to say happy Memorial Day so bad. But I haven't. I haven't said Happy Memorial Day once. Not even once. Because I'm that good. I would never say Happy Memorial Day to Josh or to anybody else in honor of Josh. It's Josh asked me not to say Happy Memorial Day, and I am never saying Happy Memorial Day. So now that we got that cleared up.
I thought it was kind of funny him going on and on about his fresh mayonnaise when
I thought it was kind of funny going on about the mayonnaise too. People be like, why are you talking about that shit? Because I think it's fucking funny. Why do you think I talk about it? Because it's fucking, to me, it's fucking funny.
And, you know, he's sitting in his car eating like the least, I'm sure it's delicious and all, but like the least nutritive food-like substance you can get, you know, makes a big point out of saying he's a meat eater and stuff. And he doesn't want.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? What point is he trying to make here? I'm talking about mayonnaise, which is not healthy. But I don't like it. But I do like these burgers, which are probably also not healthy. And I love meat, which arguably is not healthy. Was I talking about health or was I talking about flavor, you dumb fuck? Was I talking about health? I don't like the taste of mayonnaise, but I like the taste of my wife's freshly made mayonnaise. And I really like the taste of this fucking hamburger. It was delicious. It was delicious. If you're gonna try to shame me with gay humor, it ain't gonna work because obviously it was yours.
Bunch of soy. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you get your wife to make you a sandwich with some of her homemade mayo and carry it in a little cooler or something instead of?
This is the fucking insight people go to dick bag for. I don't like the taste of mayonnaise, but I like the taste of my wife's mayonnaise. So why don't I get my wife to make me a fucking mayonnaise sandwich so I can carry it in a cooler? Like what? I can't go out. I can't go out to eat anymore. I can't have lunch at Carl's Jr. anymore. Yeah, I also like my wife's lasagna. In fact, my wife makes a bunch of food that I really like. Like didn't fucking Darcy? Didn't he eat at Carl's Jr. the same day? Was anybody giving him shit about like why did Darcy, Inspector Dickbag Patrol here? Why didn't your wife make you food? Maybe you're not really married. Maybe you really don't like mayonnaise. Like who the like? Oh, she makes a goddamn fine lasagna. She makes a goddamn fine lasagna. I don't even know like what is dick bag like is this like you just fill in the air dick bag? Like you just flapping your lips to hear your fucking mouth move? Like I don't get it. Like what is your point? My wife didn't make me a mayonnaise sandwich that day because my wife normally doesn't make me mayonnaise sandwiches, and I'm fine with that. I'm almost a full-grown adult. I can go out to eat for fast food whenever the fuck I want.
I'm a judgy type of person. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
What you just judged me because I had fast food instead of having my wife make me a mayonnaise sandwich.
Didn't notice, buddy.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I have noticed that. You didn't have to tell us that.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. Him going on and on about his fresh mayonnaise when he's sitting in his car eating like the least. I'm sure it's delicious and all, but like the least nutritive food-like substance you can get. Makes a big point out of saying he's a meat eater and stuff, and he doesn't want much.
Yeah. Where's the contradiction? Where did I say anything contradictory? What did you just catch me on?
Soy. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you get your wife to make you a sandwich with some of her homemade mayo and carry it in a little cooler or something instead of?
Because I didn't ask her to, because I didn't want to, because mayonnaise sandwiches really aren't my bag.
I don't know. It was a strange way to open the video.
he strikes me as an intelligent.
It's a strange way to open the video. Well, yeah, that's part of the fucking humor, dude. That's part of the humor. Maybe you don't get it, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not expecting everybody to get my humor, but some people got it. Some people had a fucking great time with it. Some people got a little spicy in the Mayo Wars over it. But there is at least a non-0% portion of my community that actually gets my humor, that actually understands it and actually laughs at it. You're just apparently not one of them because you're over there sitting like, well, if you like your wife's mayonnaise so much, why didn't you ever make you a mayonnaise sandwich? Fucking dumbass.
Intelligent individual.
Jesus.
I can see that he has experience in law, and he strikes me as an intelligent individual.
Heap the praise on me, Darcy. Heap the praise.
I can see that he has experience in law.
One whole year, first year family law attorney. But I'm impressing the people with fucking Martindale Hubble, whatever awards. I don't even have one of these awards, but I'm impressing a motherfucker with one of them. Yes, and that is also the joke. And no one caught it when I said it in the video. Oh. Oh, God damn. Oh, Jesus.
And I don't know why he keeps referring to him as a first-year family law attorney.
Because you're too dumb to get the joke.
That's not an area of law that I practice in. Wouldn't want to do it, quite frankly. The lawyers that handle that usually, I mean, I'm under enough stress, and that kind of stuff just doesn't interest me. It's just drama all day. So I can understand why he could be upset because I don't mind the stress from high pressure, but I wouldn't want the stress from just being, hassled to death over.
Well, like, here's the thing. Like, you have your secretary, like, not send you the call if they're just being annoying. And I don't know. Like, I get paid. Like, here's a fun fact, RC. I get paid to talk to my clients. So if I have a client, I do in fact have a lot of clients who like to call me, and I tell them like, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a psychologist. You can talk to me as much as you want, but remember, you're paying $295 an hour to talk about your feelings to your lawyer. And if they're okay with that, then okay, like you want to pay me $295 an hour to listen to you talk? Sure. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that's terrible. Oh yeah. Your ex is a terrible person. Yep, absolutely. Uh-huh. I get paid to do that. Like that takes a lot of the sting out of it, Darcy. And he's gonna be like, well, I'm a real lawyer. I get paid like $6, $8, $9, $1,000 an hour. And I'm going to be like, congratulations. I'm only a first-year family law attorney.
Like, maybe they're fighting over a grandfather clock, and one person's going to spend $2,000 in legal fees, the other guy's going to spend $2,000 in legal fees to fight over a clock worth $800, and that can be kind of maddening because it's just not what I do. And
why is that maddening? Why is that maddening? You tell your client, look, you're going to spend. You want me to file this motion? It's going to cost you more than you're going to get back. And if they're like, yeah, I want you to file the motion anyway, you'd be like, okay, cool. And then you take the fucking check and you slide it into your pocket. Like, I don't even understand. Like, you haven't explained to me what the problem is yet, Darcy.
If that's what he wants to do, great, let him do it. He strikes me as an intelligent guy, but he just comes off as
heap the praise on me.
It's just not what I do. And if that's what he wants to do, great, let him do it. He strikes me as an intelligent guy, but he just comes off as very abrasive, and that's not a good way.
Yeah, I come across as very abrasive as soon as you fucking start pushing on me, Darcy. I didn't say shit to you. Well, I guess so. So technically, there was the one joke I made, but I didn't tag you in it. When you made that video, like, and you posted it like 2 hours after the decision came out, day late and a dollar short. I laughed at it. It was fucking funny, bro. Like, but I didn't tag you in it. Like, but anyway, like, I guess maybe that is a little abrasive, but I'm not always abrasive. Like you, so. In my Discord, people get two kinds of reactions from me. One, where they're asking an honest question, where they're coming at me in good faith, and I'll respond to them in good faith and honestly, and I'll give them my best answer or what have you. And I might even like do like 5 minutes of legal research just to make sure that I'm kind of pointing them in the right direction, right? Because, I mean, I'm not their attorney and I'm not representing them or anything like that, but I'm trying to be nice about this over here. Or you get the people like Lyncher who ask disingenuous question after disingenuous question, and then you're going to get a whole different me because I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you your feelings. You come to my house and you want to play games, I'm going to shit on you because you want to play games.
To interact with people, if you need to be abrasive with them when there really is no other approach. So
yeah, there was no other approach. You didn't take the subtle hint, Darcy. When I put the heart on your comment and then moved along, that would have informed most sane people, most rational persons that I saw it. Maybe I even considered it and I declined it. I just didn't want to hurt your feelings and shit all over you. So I just put a little heart. Yes, I saw it, moved along. And then you made it public. You posted a video. You said, hey, world, I'm trying to put John on the spot because that's what you're trying to do, motherfucker. You might be dumb, but I'm not. Try to put me on the spot. And guess what? I don't like being put on the spot. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Now you're on the spot. Dumb fuck. And you don't even know how to handle it, bro. You're in here making a shit. We started at the 8-minute mark. Oh, my video is only 14 minutes, but you weren't going to go tit for tat. We only got like 2 minutes left, bro. And then it's a full tit for tat. How long does it go past that? I don't even know. Like, if you're going to play games on the internet, fucking know how to play games on the internet. I want to point out something that is very important that people seem to forget all the time. I am an OG troll. I don't always make a big deal about it, but I'm an OG troll. Do with that as you will.
I turn up the heat on people only when they really need to have it turned up on.
Turn up the heat on me, Darcy. I can't fucking wait. Show me what you're cooking with.
Because it's a difficult way to do business all day, because then you don't want to talk to them. And by the way, you ought to know this.
Well, maybe I don't want you to talk to me, dude. Like the hit again. The fucking hint was I saw your comment, I hearted it, and I moved along. That was the hint. Yes, I'm reading chat. I just ignore you. Josh. Wrong Josh. You're the wrong Josh, Josh.
Some clients think that if you got a lawyer that's brash and is just, trash talking the opposing counsel up and down the hallway outside of court, that you got a real badass attorney. I'll tell you right now.
That's usually not a good sign. And that's why I don't do that.
Now, that is failed advice. I started out that way. And then I realized that all that did.
I didn't start out that way. I started off working for a guy who did that. And it always irritated the living shit out of me. Oh, good. My plan's working. Get hotter. It always irritated the shit out of me when this other attorney would do that, because I'm like, well, actually, no, this other attorney isn't stupid. This other attorney is doing I think the client is better served when I say, look, the other side has this going for him and this going for him and this going for him. We've got this going for us and this going for us, which is how I set expectations and I maneuver my client into a position where they can settle. Because if you're just shit talking the other attorney all the time, then your client is going to think that other attorney, I mean, if they believe you, they're going to think that other attorney is a fucking idiot. And they're going to be like, obviously that attorney is going to be wrong. And so why should we settle? My attorney is right. And so, and he says that attorney is wrong. So why would I bother to settle? So I'm just going to go for it. And all of a sudden you're ending up at trial with a case that you might not want to be at trial over. Because I have never, maybe, just finish this thought though. I have never gone to trial with a perfect case, not yet. And maybe I'm just not attracting the same kind of clients that Darcy is. Maybe all of his clients have perfect cases and everything like that, but my clients don't. And so, generally speaking, my clients have some potential liability, and I want to make sure that they're aware of that, so that when we get into the positions, they could accurately analyze a settlement offer. And the only way you could accurately analyze a settlement offer is if you understand not only what you've got going for you, but what you've got against you. Anyway, what should we play while I'm not here? How about we do what is the name? I forget her name.
Whisper, I know. Thank you so much. I just want to give a shout out to be very aware of your mental health, and try to do therapy as much as you can. It's very important, because the healthier you makes a healthier surrounding for you. Well, I went on tour with Ray LaMontagne. I'm pretty sure I always said his name wrong. He's just like, but I've always loved his music, and his music has been very inspirational for me. And it was kind of a dream and an honor to be able to open for him for the dates that I did. And so here's one of his songs called "Hey Me, Hey Mama." And if you feel so obliged to sing the chorus with us, we'd love that. So here we go. Papa's in the kitchen, Mama's in the field. Bird are in the hen house, but flung high up on the hill. Rooster in the dooryard, just leaning on the horn. With the wind so sweetly blowing through the ripening corn. me.
Hey, me.
Hey, mama.
Hey, mama.
Where you been
Where you been?
for so long, for so long? Hey, me.
Hey, me.
Hey, mama.
Hey, mama.
Where you been?
Where you been?
Tell me where you've been for so long. Well, there's something outrageous.
All right. So the point that I was getting at was a long-winded way of saying that why are you judging me as an attorney? Why are you judging my why are you conflating my behavior on YouTube with my behavior as an attorney? That's so weird. Like I could fully expect Darcy probably like he gets up on Saturday morning, puts on his fucking tie and eats like dry toast for breakfast, you know. Just like I could just like I mean he's that guy. He's been an attorney forever and ever, and like it's baked in, and that's how he acts, that's who he is. That's not me. But when I put on a suit and I go into court, I act like an attorney. Why? Because that's what I get paid to do. And there are etiquette rules. I mean, not necessarily in the rules of professional conduct, but there are etiquette rules that courts will apply, and they will require you to be, you know, courteous, etc. But even then, like I find it's a lot easier to catch flies with honey than it is with vinegar. And you know, I am never intentionally a dick to opposing counsel. I every once in a while I might say something slightly sharp, but I try to curtail that part of me. So I am pretty straight laced as an attorney. Like when I'm actually practicing, I'm polite, and honestly, I am I'm overly nice in kind of a overly complimentary way, because that throws attorneys off. There's a couple ways that you could throw counsel off. There's two games that I like to play. The first game is the oh shucks, you know, I don't really know what's going on. You know, I don't really know is, you know, maybe you could help me. Maybe you could point me to the right statute or whatever. The I'm not really that smart kind of game. I love playing the I'm not that smart kind of game, because there's a certain kind of attorney who's going to go out of their way to help. Like there's a certain kind of person who's like, oh, well, here, let me help you. Let me point you in the right direction. And it doesn't matter that you're opposing counsel, just because the way they think, the way they're programmed, like they will literally go out of their way to assist you. And this is going to sound weird, but like, people don't love you for what you do for them. They love you for what they do for you. I know that's kind of weird and counterintuitive, but people like you if they do things for you. I mean, unless you're a piece of shit who shows no gratitude or whatever, but people love you for what they could do for you, not for what you could do for them. So that's a great little trick to do. And the other thing is for other attorneys, I mean, it's all kind of like case specific, but for other attorneys, I like to be overly complimentary in a weird way that they don't quite understand, because it throws them off a little bit. Like they don't know how to react to it. And keeping people kind of a little off center is sometimes helpful. When I remember the first time I did this little trick, it was this guy named Stromby. I'm not going to tell you his first name, but I'll call him, I don't know. I'll call him Fish Stromby, because I just saw fish fart. All right, so every time you call and the secretary would be like, you know, hey, it's this attorney, I'd be like, how's my favorite fish Stromby? Just every time. Well, if it isn't my favorite fish Stromby, look at this. Look at this. Here's my favorite fish Stromby coming this direction. Just get a load of this guy, man. He's of all the Strombys, he's the best Stromby. You are the best attorney named Stromby I've ever met. He fucking hated me. But like it took him a long time to get to that point. And it's just like you just see him like he just like that's kind of reset. Yeah. I mean it's remarkably and like when I was first an attorney, when I first became an attorney, and you could actually go in and file in person, the clerks would be super helpful. Back, oh, was there another paper that I needed to file with this? Oh yeah, it's this one here, and then just slide it across. You like, oh, and can I get copies made of this? But yeah, okay, I'll just go ahead and make those for you. Feigning ignorance is great, and you know, keep them on their toes.
It was lead to a lot of motions in court, sanction requests, no courtesy extensions for anything, and it just made the litigation more nasty and more personal. And instead of trying to work out a solution, the lawyers just hate each other and they just beat each other up all day. And I found that the best lawyers can be nice to opposing counsel, can be respectful to them, and still win the case. And I like to win by ambush. I like to win. And when I mean by ambush is, I don't mind if they even think I'm a little bit slow or maybe I don't really quite grasp it. I'm just kind of watching and taking it all in so I can set my traps for them later. And
well, you play slow really well. I guess I'm falling into your trap, Darcy. Is this one of your traps? He's slow playing me, guys. He's playing stupid, and he's slow playing me. I'm falling into his trap.
You know, the drama has its place, but it's not going to be the normal routine because it's just not a very good way of lawyering, and judges really hate it. They do.
Yeah, I personally don't appreciate.
I agree. Judges do tend to hate sharp practices. That's what they call it, sharp practices. Well, yeah, because I mean, it's most attorneys figure out pretty quick that that you get better results by playing dumb. You get better results by being polite. Sorry.
Appreciate it either. It's just because it's just unwarranted. You know, it's not necessary.
What's unwarranted? What's unwarranted? So Darcy was talking about in the courtroom, in the professional relationship between two attorneys, two opposing counsel. He wasn't talking about on YouTube, or at least I don't think he was. If he was talking about YouTube, obviously he doesn't know his asshole from his elbow about YouTube games. So why are you talking about? Why are you stretching what he was saying about the way attorneys should behave in court to the way attorneys can play on YouTube?
Personally don't appreciate it either. It's just because it's just unwarranted. You know, it's not necessary. Like the same thing.
Well, yeah. So Mountain Man. All right. So argue in legal speak is your argument. You have a legal argument. This is the citations that I'm relying on. These are the facts that I'm relying on. This is how I apply the law to the facts. That is my argument. That's an argument. It's like, it's not shouting at each other in court. I argue with attorneys all day long. They say, this is how I interpret the facts and the law in this case. And I say, this is how I interpret the facts and the law in this case. And they say, well, you're wrong because these are the relevant facts and this is the relevant law. And I say, well, actually, you're wrong because that case was overturned. We're in the 3rd district, not the 4th district, whatever. You know, so that's an argument. And I make my argument in front of a judge. So the way it normally works is, let's say I am going to file a motion to get something done. So I file a motion, and in that motion, I give my legal argument. It's a memorandum of points and authorities, memorandum of law. Basically what it is it says, these are the facts. This is the law, and by applying the facts to the law, I win. Well, then the opposing counsel gets to write his opposition. And that's going to be like, okay, these are the facts. This is the law. If you apply the facts to the law, I win. And he's wrong because he misapplied this, he didn't do that, he didn't do the other thing, whatever. And then at the end, normally, unless sir replies are allowed, which normally they're not, at the end, I get to respond back one last time and say, well, actually, no, you're wrong because you misapplied this, you misapplied that, you did the other thing. And then who resolves that? Well, obviously, I don't believe the other attorney. Obviously, the other attorney doesn't believe me. So you go to a neutral. In the courtroom, that would be the judge. And attorneys are conditioned to go to a judge and say, Judge, figure it out. This is what I say. This is what he says. Figure it out. Yes. Yes. And so like no part of Darcy volunteering to do this made any fucking sense to me, because he's just another YouTube attorney for all of his awards that apparently Ehline has the same ones, but for all of them, he's just another attorney. Why would Ehline care about his analysis? Explain why Ehline would give two shits about Darcy's analysis. I mean, I'll wait. I mean, if someone wants to type out in the comments why Ehline would value the opinion of Darcy, then I'll be happy to read it.
I try, I don't just go on and on about every frauditor and call him a dipshit and this and that. I really make an effort to have something to say before about something before I make a video.
Well, apparently not in this case. Not in this case. Your best hot take was that my wife should make mayonnaise sandwiches or something. I don't know
about it. Have some intelligent points.
Oh yeah, intelligent points. Which ones did you make tonight?
So I got I guess I'm a rube according to Murph.
Did I call Dickbag Patrol a rube? Did I? God, when did I call Dickbag Patrol a rube? Like before this, I didn't know I had. I guess Dickbag Patrol had a problem with me before this. Whatever, I don't really care. But where did I call Dickbag Patrol a rube? Like I don't think about you, Dickbag Patrol. I mean, I've seen you in comment sections, like in Stone Vet's comment section, and I might have said hi there or something. It's a good point. It's a good point. Rube, like a bumpkin or someone who's uneducated. I think what I said, that's so if that's it, what I said was that the awards, like Ehline's awards here, these are to convince rubes that they're good lawyers, because these don't mean anything. And so if you're actually doing your own research, if you're actually trying to figure out how to find a good lawyer, well, your best way of doing it would be to talk to someone, be like, hey, did you use this? I know you sued someone, blah, blah, blah. Did you have a good lawyer? And if they had a good lawyer, that's the best way to go. Fine. Maybe that lawyer won't do great for you, but maybe they will, right? But other than that, your best way is to go in there, actually meet with them, look them in the eye, shake their hand, and get a feel for them. People's subconscious, I think we don't give enough credence to how you feel about people. You could get a feeling about people just by meeting them. So anyway, if he does take offense, if he does take umbrage and think that I was calling him a rube, that must mean that he fell for the whole awards mean something bullshit. So congratulations. You played yourself. Last I checked, you couldn't get a law degree from Costco, but whatever. See, it's a way better joke to say that I got a McLaw degree from McGeorge. You know, it sounds cheap, right? McLaw degree, McGeorge, right? It sounds cheap. Merb debating and non-responsive video, not really a challenge, but safe, eh? Not really. And here's why, Potluck, you fucking cretin. Because they can take all the time they want to pick apart what I have to say. In a real debate, if it was a real debate, I don't know what we'd be debating. You're stupid. That's a debate, right? But in a real debate, you don't have a lot of time. You got to think on your feet, which is why normally lawyers will take quite a bit of time prepping for oral arguments. They'll do a lot of research. They'll be intimately familiar with the facts of the case. They'll be intimately familiar with all the case law that even remotely touches on it, in order to not sound like a complete fucking moron. But if you have the luxury of spending as much time as you want to prepare a response, well, then you're going to get a better response. You stupid fuck. So what I'm doing, just ad hoc going through this, is I'm really giving myself a disadvantage, because I could have watched everything and prepared notes, written a script, made sure my zingers popped, not be doing watering my lawn in the middle of it. There are things I could have done to make this much punchier. So really, I'm doing myself a disservice, but I don't really care. So, I'm surprised it's taken this long. I thought I'd have been done with this and onto Ehline by now. Oh, and you weren't even getting to see what we were talking about. So I have to go back.
I guess I'm a rube, according to Murph. I mean, he just does this. So
that's just him. Yep.
So who cares, really?
Internet God, Pat, Internet God said that he went to Costco for his law degree.
That was the knee slapper.
So I love you.
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Standing for
is that a welcome to Costco? I love you. That's from a movie, isn't it? Oh, what is that movie? Welcome to Costco. I love you. Idiocracy? Is that from Idiocracy? Oh,
Probably, but early in the chilly days, Murph was on Irish Demon's chat and made some really offensive comments, somewhat racist comments.
Somewhat racist comments? Hold on a second. What racist? I called Chili a faggot, and everybody lost their goddamn minds. I guess it's racist now. It's racist now to call Chili a faggot, because apparently, according to Ehline, Chili's Jewish. So anytime you insult Chili, you're anti-Semitic or something. I don't know. The look on Darcy? Niggardly? That doesn't mean what you think it means.
I don't have any knowledge of that, but I mean,
let's move on, guys.
Yeah,
we're giving him too much fuel. He really
I've got the video ready to go from our Nevada judges today.
That's what
all right, so it went from 8 minutes to 24 minutes. So that was 2 minutes approximately longer than my video, but they weren't going to go tit for tat. Everybody give them a big round of applause. They didn't go tit for tat. Oh, excellent stuff. Good times. All right. Well, enough of that nonsense. Enough of that nonsense. All right. This is probably my least favorite part of anything, because Ehline's really fucking stupid, and it vexes me to have to listen to how stupid he is, because he says stupid shit, and he rapid fire stupid shit. Like, even just looking at this, I have no idea where he's going to go with this. But he's got down in the title is lawyer reaction, which, I mean, what the fuck does that mean? I've gone over that before, but you're not you're not even going to say that you're actually giving like legal analysis. This is just a reaction. Lawyer reacts like, eh. But then it goes on group defamation ? I'm gonna have to say that I'm not really familiar with group defamation because California requires you specifically to be defamed. So I don't know what group defamation is. So that'll be interesting. Post office plus FOIA equals redacted, refrain, report, resume. I don't even want to read any of that. God damn, he just comes across so stupid. And look at the fucking blob. This guy kills me. He's gotta be 5 hundos. That dude's gotta be 5 hundos. Yeah, he's probably been eating all of Mrs. Merb's mayo sandwiches because he's just fucking massive. Does he actually go out and audit? Because I can't imagine him doing a whole lot of sure.
To another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and need to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
That whole intro is just so fucking weird.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? So we got a really cool show for you tonight about the U.S. Post Office and potential false labeling of First Amendment auditors is dangerous by implication. We're going to talk.
So it says U.S. Post Office falsely labels First Amendment auditors as dangerous. ? What does that mean? Like, did they do it or didn't they do it?
A little bit about group defamation and inducement, libel, slander, potentially being able to sue the post office for characterizing auditors as domestic extremists, see if that's even possible. And then I've got a couple of panelists.
I don't believe it's possible.
Tonight, I got BZ Watchdog, former Marine, and he's also an auditor. And then I got a former law enforcement officer, Ryan, on here in the house. And we're all hanging out here. Go ahead and say hi guys.
Team DLZ in the house.
Yeah.
Team DLZ in the house.
And then we got in the sidebar.
So I don't know this American Texan guy. And so I want to be very clear. I'm not saying anything about him. But what's weird is every time I've dealt with a former law enforcement on YouTube who's taken the side of the auditors, they've been disgraced. Former law enforcement. There was Thief Damon Jones, who was universally reviled everywhere he'd ever worked. He was a fuck up the few times that he went out on patrol. He was a fuck up when he was working the jail. He got fired a lot. Then there was Texas Sheepdog, Diddlin' Jack, who was a fuck up on patrol, who they put in the jail and has subsequently been charged with possession of CP. Do with that as you will. I mean, just stellar characters. Earl Warden was military police, right? Yes, he does. He does look young, which makes me wonder, like was he injured and separated out on was he medically retired? Like, was he shot or something? What about James Madison? I don't know. So I don't know, like what's this dude doing here? What's the angry Texan? What are you doing here, bro? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's generally speaking the way it works. Former cops that weren't able to make it as cops, and generally speaking, then hate cops. But so I don't know. I just want to be very clear. I don't know anything about this angry Texan guy. I don't know if he's pro auditor or anti auditor. Other than the other video that I saw a few minutes of that I streamed, I don't know anything about him. So I don't want to say that he's anything or nothing. But it's just something to think about, right?
Bar, we got Chevy. Thanks, Chevy, for showing up. We've got Kevin. Thanks, Kevin, for showing up. Let's OTVO. Thanks for showing up. Give me a bunch of ones if you missed Chili. Let's go Press with Rancor. Let's go Good Citizen. Bunch of ones. Kevin Biernowski. Yes, you're all back in town. Mikey B. Yes, thanks for coming. Yeah, it is kicking off in France. Looks like there's a lot of people unhappy with all this forced mass immigration, and a lot of the locals are starting to fight back. Well, it looks like in France and Britain, there's some problems like riots and stuff. It's getting out of hand. You know, people are getting upset about this big WEF agenda and the big one world government that everybody says is a conspiracy theory that we see happening right in front of our eyes. Amazing. Let's take
which one, 2030 or 2050?
Yeah, any of them. All right. Okay, so David Murphy, bunch of ones. Thanks. So guys, really quick, what I'm going to do is I want to get into a couple of things. What we're going to cover today is we're going to cover first really quick whether or not auditors could sue the post office.
Every time I see him, I'm just amazed at how fat BZ Auditor is. BZ Watchdog, whatever. The guy is just massive. Got to be at least 5 hundos.
For this really damning, really screwed up memo. And we're going to trace this memo back to August of 2022 from a Long Island audits video. Just a little part I want to show you where it looks like they had like a tailgate safety meeting there based upon a FOIA document that Basil got. This is my theory, that the document that Basil got from BZ Watchdog got from freaking Washington, D.C. was the original master document. And I believe that other postal stations got the document similar to the Long Island audit document. And they created what we call in the industry like safety meetings or tailgate meetings where there was a meeting notice. And that's what I believe.
So he's so fat that his automatic background doesn't realize that massive wall of brown is human. It's distracting.
Happened. We're going to go through that really quick. And we're going to talk about whether or not saying those things about auditors, and we'll cover what those things were, is actionable defamation, libel, or slander, where you as an auditor could sue the post office for making you look bad, whether that's a case at all.
You can't sue the post office for defamation, libel, or slander. Well, let me rephrase that. You can sue them for anything you want to, but it will be dismissed for failure to state a claim upon which relief could be granted.
This is highly unlikely, but there may be. We'll cover that. And then we're going to cover this other issue with our law enforcement guy. What is the deal with these agreements between post offices and local law enforcement? We see a lot of these auditor videos where the auditor says, hey, unless you can show me some kind of a jurisdictional arrangement or an agreement, some kind of document, you're walking on federal property with a gun. You're not supposed to be in here. You're violating federal law. And they get in a little scuffle or argument about that. We're going to talk about that and how that works. But really quick, guys, I just want to get through.
So I don't understand why they think that a law enforcement officer who has some sort of memorandum of understanding, his agency and the federal agency, why he would be in violation of federal law. I mean, show me an instance where a state law enforcement officer was arrested for violating federal law by carrying a firearm to a service call on federal property. Show me one.
Through this slideshow really quick. So we know that the FBI just got in trouble for illegally spying on American patriots. And we know that the FBI was working with far left organizations like the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center and financial institutions.
Did they get in trouble? Get in trouble is like such a nebulous term. Did they get in trouble? Like, what negative consequence happened to them? I don't think they got in trouble.
Like your bank to do data mining to look for people who are Christians, white males, gun owners, people who support the First Amendment, Second Amendment. What's this? Bass Pro Shops. If you shopped at Bass Pro Shops, if you donated money to a pro-legal immigration organization, if you support legal immigration, that put you on a list of potential domestic violent extremists. And that was the financial surveillance in the United States on how federal law enforcement commandeered financial institutions to spy on Americans. So we know that's absolutely going on. And then
So this is an interim staff report of the Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. This isn't a law. This isn't a condemnation.
we have really just very quickly, I want to show you this. Hopefully I want to show you this video. And now this is going to be from Long Island Audits. It's based on an August 24th, 2022 memo. And it looks like it's called a mandatory stand-up talk, filming on postal property. You see there's a logo there. My theory is that this is a memo that's based on the document that I'm going to show you in a minute that Basil got from a very good FOIA request that he did. And he got a very similar document, but I believe
You did such a good FOIA request, Basil. You get a cookie.
it's the master document. And I believe this document was changed a little bit, altered a little bit of text, and created for a meeting where they basically talk trash on people who are First Amendment auditors, because we know a lot of people worked at the post offices were getting upset and attacking the auditors or trying to grab their cameras. And there were a lot of problems, a lot of scuffles, and a lot of words being exchanged while the guy's just standing there with his camera. So Long Island Audits went ahead, and somebody somehow he got this. I'll let him explain what happened.
All right, guys, I want to talk to you guys about this memo. Let's just get straight into it. So a postal employee sent me this anonymously. This is the memo right here. Let's take a look at it.
How do we know that this is actually a valid memo? I just want to know, has anybody actually FOIA'd this specific memo?
At it. So it's mandatory stand-up talk. This was issued by the United States Postal Inspection Service, filming on postal property. And as you can see right here, August 24th, 2022. So this is very recent, just yesterday. So very, very recent. Recently, we've seen instances of people taking video outside postal service facilities. Some have even filmed inside our lobbies. These videos are posted to social media and attempt to capture our employees in argumentative situations, which cast the postal service in a negative light. First of all, my response to this is that you are responsible for your own actions. Your postal employees are responsible for their own actions. I can speak for myself. When I go inside a post office, I'm not agitating anyone. I'm not trying to bother anybody. So if you're going to act that way and you're going to go crazy and go postal, pun intended, that's on you. That's your decision, and that's what you plan on doing. I mean,
all right, so we get the idea. So he's got this document. It's from the post office. And now moving forward back to our slideshow. And by the way, we discussed the illegal spying program that Congress just exposed. It's on a video that I have on my channel. Take a look. It's called "Can I Sue the FBI for?"
Who says it's illegal? Can I sue the FBI for illegally labeling me a domestic terrorist? Is it illegally? Did they illegally label you, or did they unlawfully label you, or did they just label you as a domestic terrorist? And can you sue them? You can sue them for whatever the fuck you want to. Whether or not it will get dismissed, that's a different question. I don't know. It didn't look like anything to me. It was nice and pretty. It wasn't something that would have been handed out to. I mean, maybe it was emailed to him or whatever. I don't know.
For illegally labeling me a domestic extremist, which probably can't, but take a look at it. So we talked about the Long Island audit video.
You said you probably can't, but take a look at it. Well, way to bury the lead.
And that exposed what I consider to be a defamatory memo. I consider by inferences and through innuendo and pleading extrinsic facts, you sometimes can plead defamation without it being like a direct defamatory statement, just by
I think he's talking about defamation per quad.
Implication, someone can defame you. And
at least, excuse me, just so everybody knows, I am talking about defamation in California. California has defamation laws. They have defamation per se and defamation per quad. Defamation per se is libelous on its face or slanderous on its face. Defamation per quad means that the defamation isn't obvious. You have to have some facts to be able to figure out whether or not it's libelous.
So BZ Watchdog went ahead and got this
Let's find
FOIA
this.
response, and you can see it's all redacted there. And the sections on the Long Island audits video were not redacted. So what BZ Watchdog did is he went in with a pen and he filled in all the missing stuff based on what was on the Long Island audits memo. But you can see that this looks like the official United States Post Office memo up there on the left, like they would have used it for their master document. Or
Well, see, this looks different than what whoever that was, Long Island Audits, was showing.
their copper plate, for lack of a better word, because this does come from DC, which is where, remember, the Leviathan always centralizes its tentacles from one spot. So
The Leviathan always centralized. Yeah, we have a centralized federal government. Congratulations.
I think that theory is probably true. And you see, it says mandatory stand-up talk. So it was probably created for meetings like tailgate safety meetings. And then it says refrain, report, and resume. So what they're saying is, don't attack somebody, just call the cops or call 911 and just keep working. Don't do anything to these guys, because they're just pissed that they're getting filmed. They don't like it. A lot of these guys are sitting around flapping their jaws doing nothing. They don't want to be filmed, So, government employees, what do you expect? So I'm not saying that's the only reason they don't want to be filmed, but they have a right the auditors do have a right to film based upon certain time, place, and manner restrictions, which we'll go into. I'm not saying it's an absolute.
I don't know that time, place, and manner restrictions apply inside of a post office. Kokinda held that post offices are non-public forums, which means that restrictions only have to be viewpoint neutral and rationally related to some legitimate government purpose. So it's not subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. So I don't know why the fuck you would think that. I mean, Kokinda, USV Kokinda. USV Kokinda has to be analyzed under the standards applicable to non-public forums. It's a non-public forum.
Right. Okay. So we've got a redacted document. Okay. So we see that this is your government. Okay. I just want to show you your government. We know that secretly they're giving these documents out to postal workers, but when a citizen tries to get basically the same document, it's completely redacted. I just want to show you how absurd that is, that your own government, your servants have become the master. So
by redacting stuff, does that make them a master because they redact stuff? I mean, I understand it's pretty stupid that they redact stuff.
Let's look at all the missing information that we presume would have been in the document that is in the redacted document. So you can see that BZ did a great job finding everything. But basically, they're saying if you see an auditor, don't approach. Don't insist that they stop filming. Don't ask them their names or who they represent. Don't ask for press credentials.
He added the date up there at the top. I don't know why he would do that.
Don't debate them or answer. Don't use personal or work phones because that could be subpoenaed. It's just like there's a lawyer who wrote this, guys, because they probably were getting sick of being sued by these nutcases, or like, stop telling me, like grabbing their phones, going crazy.
Oh, guess what time it is? Time for me to move stuff around. Merv, there's also Wigington versus United States Postal Services. Okay, well, unless that is a United States Supreme Court case that overturns Kokinda, then I'm going to go with doesn't really matter. All right, so you guys didn't like the last song I put on. So Sierra Farrell is out. Who else we got? Who else we got? Do.
what I brought to you. I saw you through a broken window, a different point of view, and you had signs of depression from a long line of sin in your face. Tells a story about the places you have been. I love you so. Thought you should know. Now muddy water's flowing as you take my hand past the creek and down the holler and through your daddy's land. And I could buy you a diamond, but I cannot change the world, 'cause I ain't got no money. You'll never be my girl. I thought you should know. And you was gonna be a singer or a big movie star, but you can't catch no breaks, baby. And Hollywood is hard. Now you work down at the timeout off of 155, and you're dancing for your dollars, just trying to stay alive. It hurts me so. Thought you should know.
All right. I don't know why Ehline took an hour on this. The answer is pretty simple. I mean, there is a so the federal government has sovereign immunity, right? So you can only sue the federal government for the things they let you sue them for. And so the federal government has allowed certain causes of action. And the statute is the Federal Tort Claims Act. There's like California has a Government Claims Act, so that you can sue the California government for various torts. Same thing with Federal Torts Claim Act. It allows you to sue federal government for various torts. Now there are exceptions to what tort, and these torts are state causes of action, right? So can you sue for a state cause of action? The default is no, unless the Federal Tort Claims Act allows you to. So the rule is no. The exception to the rule is the Federal Torts Claim Act. So the Federal Torts Claim Act does not allow you to sue for defamation. Let's see. I'm going to show this tab instead. Federal Torts Claim Act. Claims Act. There is, I think it is one of these in here. One of these in here lists am I in the wrong spot? $26.80. Jesus Christ, the one that said exceptions. So you can't sue for libel or slander. So why did I take a whole? I don't know, because I'm dumb. So anyway, so now you guys know the answer, right? You guys know the answer. No, you can't sue for defamation. You can't sue the post office for defamation, right? So you know the answer. There it is, black and white. We're gonna see if Ehline can come up with the right answer. How about that?
So call the Postal Inspector Service hotline. Only call 911 if there's an immediate safety concern. And we're going to talk about that again with Rye, because that's the problem. These interagency personnel, whatever agreements, and then we're going to let the inspection service or local law enforcement determine how best to handle it. Now, a lot of auditors are saying, well, no, that's not. You got to have a special agreement. Okay, we'll talk about that. Now we're going to talk real quick about group defamation. So there is a species of defamation called group defamation, and that's where a small class of people in some jurisdictions are able to sue based upon being a group. But a lot of people are like, well, what can you sue for? I don't see them saying that auditors are trying to kill me, or auditors are sexual predators. That's not what they're saying. They're just saying, do not approve.
So let's just assume this is general law school defamation. The rule is that they have to defame you. The exception to the rule is this group defamation thing. Most states don't have it that I'm aware of. That would be the exception to the rule. So I don't know. I know Ohio has a group defamation rule, or group defamation cause of action, but that's all I know.
Approach, basically, they could be dangerous, but that is painting someone to be a menace to society when they're engaged in a protected activity. So I don't like that. And here's what their memo says, and I believe this could be potentially actionable defamation if there aren't any defenses that the government can apply, and unfortunately there are. But let's talk about this. So actionable memo statements or assuming facts. Are the statements in the memo actionable because they are assuming facts? They're saying that the goal of the group is to elicit a response from postal employees, law enforcement.
What does he mean actionable? Did he define what is an actionable memo statements? Sweet mother of God, KC 2024. And defamation. Takes a long time to load. Series 1700. Takes a long time to load. 1700 point. Come on, load. There we go. All right. So this is defamation per se in California. You have to show that the defendant made the statement or the statements to a person or person other than the plaintiff, i.e., they had to publish it. That the defendant or that the persons published to reasonably understood the statement was about the plaintiff. That the person who it got published to reasonably understood the statements to mean that it was defamatory, and that the statements were false. In addition, the plaintiff must. This is for public figure or limited public figure. You have to prove that the defendant knew that they were false or had serious doubts about the truth. So those are the actual. I don't know. At least in California, the kinds of things you need to show for it to be actionable.
Actionable defamation if there aren't any defenses that the government can apply, and unfortunately there are. But let's talk about this. So actionable memo statements or assuming facts. Are the statements in the memo actionable because they are assuming facts? They're saying that the goal of the group is to elicit a response from postal employees, law enforcement, and others in order to record video confrontations and post them on social media sites. So that's assuming.
Well, assuming. Why does it have to assume facts? I don't know where he went to get this. Why do they have to assume facts? They have to make. Oh, this is for his group defamation. He's doing group defamation per quad.
Assuming facts, and it's characterizing every auditor as somebody who basically wants to violate people and cause upheaval, that they're a bad person. Okay, I believe that could be potentially actionable. Now, it also is saying, thank you for helping us protect our people. So again, we've got this inference, this sort of extrinsic facts by other things that we know about what they're doing here is, with the FBI secret spying program, we know what's kind of going on. If you support the Bill of Rights, natural law, Constitution, believe that you were created and the government doesn't own you lock, stock, and barrel, that makes you a threat. So now we're talking about, thank you for protecting our people. And what I'm saying is that through inducement, inference, and innuendo, that they're saying that auditors are potentially dangerous, do not approach. And I'm saying that this is a big corporate push that we have, with this corporatized education system to force everybody to fit into the social sort of the social credit system. And this is a way of saying to banks and to government.
What? How the fuck did we end up here? How the fuck did we end up here? How did we end up here? How did we end up? Did I hit something? Still the same video. We're still on the actionable memo statements.
Saying, thank you for helping us protect our people. So again, we've got this inference, this sort of extrinsic facts by other things that we know about what they're doing here is, the FBI secret spying program. We know what's kind of going on. If you support the Bill of Rights, natural law, Constitution, believe that you were created and the government doesn't own you lock, stock, and barrel, that makes you a threat. So now we're talking about, thank you for protecting our people. And what I'm saying is that through inducement, inference, and innuendo, that they're saying that auditors are potentially dangerous, do not approach. And I'm saying that this is a big corporate push that we have, this corporate.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. DEI is apparently diversity, equity, and inclusion, and forced compliance are un-American. I don't understand how we got here. What does any of this have to do with defamation? I can't analyze it if I don't understand what the fuck's going on. This has nothing to do with defamation. I mean, this is political. This is political. This isn't law. This is politics. I don't know where. Fucking just. I guess we're just going to continue. Maybe he'll tie it all together somehow.
Education system to force everybody to fit into the social sort of the social credit system. And this is a way of saying to banks and to government agencies and institutions and other people that these people who are engaged in these activities are nut jobs.
I feel like he watches like some real right-wing kinds of media, doesn't really understand it all, but then tries to regurgitate it. And so like he understands half of what he hears, he mixes around in his fucking retarded brain, and then he vomits up something that doesn't look anything like the original. Nothing this is meaningless. This is gobbledygook.
The crazy sovereign citizens, don't approach them, just call the police, stop getting a suit over this. And basically the greatest duty of all American citizens is to hold your government accountable. And one of the main ideas.
Citation needed. So the fourth branch of government is the press, right? But so like when people talk about the press, they mean different things. Different people mean different things. Like, is the press the thing that publishes the stories and disseminates it out? Is the press somebody who goes and films a traffic stop. But when people say the press is the fourth branch of government, they're really meaning like people who can actually disseminate, who can get the information, but then actually disseminate it effectively and use that to keep the other branches of government somewhat in line, somewhat in check.
Behind the First Amendment was to allow what is exactly happening with these people going out there, auditing, filming, trying to hold their public officials and public servants accountable. Some of them have been screwed under by cops and they have an axe to grind. Some have been screwed under by cops and don't want it to happen to someone else. They all have their own reasons, but law enforcement and the government should be trained to be able to deal with those situations. So really quickly, the problem is an auditor could be considered a public figure, and a public figure would have a much.
Is that the problem? Is it the problem that an auditor could be considered a public figure? What about someone who does it the very first time? Are they a public figure?
More difficult time suing for defamation, which would be a false statement about someone that's not true.
And what state law are we looking at? And how do we get from DEI to here?
That could hurt that person, that does in fact hurt that person and damages that person. It could be in the form of libel, or it could be in the form of slander. Libel is written defamation, slander is spoken. And so a public figure, it's harder for them to sue someone for defamation because they thrust themselves out into the public light. So, and there's another problem.
It's not harder to sue them. It might be harder to prevail because of the actual malice standard. Now, he did a video apparently on the actual malice standard. I don't know if he got it right or not because I didn't watch it, but the actual malice standard doesn't require any malice. Basically, it's all of the elements of defamation, except that you have to publish with reckless disregard as to the truth or falsity. You have to know it's false or publish with reckless disregard as to the truth or falsity of what you published, as opposed to against a private individual where you don't have to have that. If it's false, you're done. And the false is kind of presumed. Basically, you could just say it's false, and then all of a sudden the burden of proof really has to shift over to them to prove it's true. But I don't.
It makes it highly unlikely that any of these auditors would be able to sue the post office, and that's because the memo, official proceeding, and fair report doctrine. And this is a situation where you have people like Chuck Schumer or these other guys who get up and they'll just lie about someone and they can't be sued, even though they're lying. And people are like, well, they didn't get sued, so clearly it must be true, right? Because they would have been sued for defamation. Well, no. In a public proceeding, these guys lie about each other all the time. And the idea behind that is to encourage coverage of matters of public concern. And so if you write something in a document like that, it could be covered under what's called the fair report privilege or some other official government document type privilege.
I think the senators and congressmen have a specific immunity for what they say in Congress, like on the floor, that doesn't necessarily apply outside of Congress. But I mean, the odds of winning against them are pretty slim anyway.
That could protect wrongdoers from liability. So this varies state by state. And so that's pretty much everything I've got to say about that. Now I wanted to.
Yeah, this guy is reading chat. I think BZ Watchdog fell asleep because he hasn't moved. And I think you'd notice it if he moved.
Just open up on the screen to start our next discussion. Hopefully y'all can see this right here. All right. So Ryan and BZ, go ahead and say anything that I haven't said that you guys want to say that I missed, and I got your document ready.
Like, why would you, like, first of all, that stream of consciousness nonsense? What is he like? What have we shown? What can you sue the government at this point? Is really the only impediment the fact that you may be a public figure and they may have to prove that they said something with that was either untrue or they knew was untrue, or that they published with reckless disregard to whether or not it was untrue? Is that really the only impediment? And like, here's a really fucking dumb question. and I don't know if Michael Ehline is going to address it, but we started off with group defamation, and then he switches over after talking about DEI and forced speech. Then he starts talking about public figure. Now, a group can't be a motherfucking public figure. You dumb shit, stupid, ignorant, charlatan. If they're saying something about an individual auditor, that's when the public figure stuff would come into play. Because then you're talking about a specific person, a public figure, as it were, not a public group, a public figure. Are they saying something specifically about you? If they're saying something specifically about you, then you apply the public figure standard. If they're not saying something about you, if they're saying something about a group that you're part of, then why the fuck are we talking about public figure? When is the fat fuck who's rubbing the fucking eye boogers out of his eyes from his little nap, or the angry Texas cop gonna wake up and be like, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Ehline expert, if it's group defamation, then why are we talking about public figure status?"
Guys, whenever you're ready. I'm good on my end. I probably should have Ron explain the agreements between law enforcement agencies and how we can go about maybe checking to see if what it's called, so we can maybe do a FOIA from the post office regarding law enforcement agencies on who they have an agreement with.
Sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah, and I was trying to look because that's something that we would have at a department, right? Like that's.
So are we done? Does he go back to the whole can you sue for defamation? Or does he just leave it fucking hanging there? It depends on what state you're in, William. It depends on what state you're in. See, all of this stuff depends on state law. What defamation, what is or isn't defamation, how the state defines it, what elements the state requires you to prove. That's all a matter of state law. And you fucking can't sue the federal government over it, because the Federal Tort Claim Act specifically accepts defamation, libel, and slander. So while state law is necessary to understand, it's also a useless thing to talk about, because Federal Tort Claims Act says you can't sue federal government for libel or slander, for defamation.
An agreement you would have. I'm trying to look up if there's a way to find. So they're called extra jurisdictional agreements, right? And one municipality, say a county, would come into an agreement with, say, the city, and they would share extra jurisdictional an agreement saying that certain, like some of them, it'd be certain emergencies you can go in, like if there's a pursuit, missing children. There's some other stuff, kidnappings, stuff like that, and they'll make the agreements just for that. Now, apparently, so it's got to be kind of different, weird with the post office, because I was telling BC earlier that they'll rent places all the time. Like they'll rent little bitty areas inside a store, right?
Yeah.
It's the post office will, or they'll rent a small building or a small area in a building, and then the police can come and they can be all the way up to the door according to the documents, I'm guessing, right? But they couldn't go in.
Yeah.
So
why can't police go in? Why can't police go in? The fucking, hold on. Is it 39? I think it's 39 CFR. CFR. United States Postal Service. Oops, that's what it said. Special regulations. Nope. Where is it? Maybe here. Conduct on postal property. Here we go. 232. Conduct on postal property. Local postmasters and installation heads may, pursuant to 40 USC 1315 D3, and with the approval of the chief postal inspector or his designee, enter into agreements with state and local enforcement agencies to ensure these rules and regulations are enforced in a manner that will protect postal service property. So why does this guy think that that they have to stop at the door? Why do they have to stop at the door? Yeah, like I'm guessing they don't. Because I'm guessing, like, here's the thing, like, if the post office thought police were the problem, maybe they would be like, hey, you know what, you can't come in here, Mr. Police Officer guy, for whatever reason, because police are a problem. But they don't. They fucking don't do that. So I think they like police. I think they want police to come around. I think they don't give no mind to police officers strolling in and taking out people who are being obnoxious. I'm guessing, when they're like, you know what, we can either let the police do this thing or we can refuse and not let the police do this thing. I'm going to put my money on they're going to let the police do the thing. And you know what? I'll bet you if the police walk in there with their little body cam videos rolling, and they record the entire encounter, I'll bet you the post office employees won't care one fucking bit about the police recording in the post office. The thing is, it's not a problem unless someone makes it a problem. So even if there is no agreement, the police walk in there, it's still not a problem unless someone at the post office doesn't like it and makes it a problem.
Oh, that's when you would have to have that extra jurisdictional agreement in place.
Okay, so I guess let's lay a foundation too. So are we in accord that
an extra jurisdictional agreement? This just says they can enter into agreements. It doesn't state it have to be an extra judicial or extra jurisdictional agreement. They just enter into agreements. There's no name for it. Just whatever.
And that federal and state and local, well, federal and state for sure, there's going to be a jurisdictional divide. A federal enclave is going to be a federally controlled area, similar to like a Indian reservation where it's got its own.
No, we had two, and they had no problem coming to the gate and going, "Go away."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You showed up, and they said that we don't want your help.
So there's
well, so yeah, like if the police show up to like a military base, right, that has its own police that are doing their own policey kinds of things, we like to call them military police, right? And the police want to patrol the base, the military police will get back, no. But there's a difference between a situation like that and a situation where they have literally made it part of their regulation that they are going to enter into these agreements.
There's a fun thing they do to rookies in the county that I was in.
Yeah.
They have one of those really neat mountains. This is close to DC, right? It's one of those really neat mountains with a helicopter pad on top, and it's got the AT&T logo on it.
Yep.
And if you drive up the driveway, men in Suburbans with MP5s will come at you.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And so they take rookies and go, "Hey, just go up this road over here. Yeah, take a left, take a right." And they get, a mile up this dirt road, and all of a sudden, they're bailing out.
Big Willie says hi, Ray, by the way.
Oh, hey.
All right.
So as a joke on rookies, they have them trespass on federal property. on secure installations. And you'd think if it was something that they did commonly, regularly, that the guys in Suburbans with MP5s would know all about it. Or maybe they just did it to him. Or maybe he's lying. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Guys, I wanted to lay that foundation that the federal enclaves, federal areas that are set aside, that is for all intents and purposes like an embassy. Because remember, the states are their own country, and the federal government is its own country, and they have unless we're otherwise provided by law. I mean, we have a 9th Amendment, a 10th Amendment.
Yeah, unless otherwise provided by law. Fucking weird. Fucking crazy. Huh. Fucking crazy.
People really need to learn the Constitution. And so you cannot bring a handgun on federal property unless you have permission from the federal property when it's a federal enclave like that. Now, I know that I've gone shooting at Camp Pendleton and they've let me bring it on, but I always ask the MPs before, and they've had 3-gun competitions there. So I know you can do it. But as far as having an actual agreement, I mean, a guy coming onto a military base isn't going to be able to get an
I was a member of the gun club at Beale. I've never been in the military. It was a bug ruined my drink. Never been a member of the military, but you can sign up to join the gun club at Beale. Isn't that crazy? And they inspect your firearms before you enter the base. Now you can only go on at specific times because if they have certain planes flying, you can. They're scared that your shotgun is going to shoot down one of these fast, high-flying planes, because of course it would. It was a really I think one of the last times I went there. You had to go through the main gate. You had to declare that you had the firearms, and so they had to inspect them to make sure that you're not taking anything terrible. Although, if you didn't declare them, then what would happen? You know, like they'd never know you had the firearms, right? Like, but so it's like the honor system, like, and who's going to be like, yeah, I have firearms, and then bring something unlawful onto the base. So anyway, you declare your firearms, so they have to look at them, and the I don't know if it was an MP, but the border or the gate person, there's a couple of people working the gate, like doing the inspections, and I had a Browning. Why can't I remember the name of it? It's the old whaleback shotgun. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. It's from like 1954 or something like that. I mean, it's an ancient beast, but it's a beautiful, beautiful semi-automatic shotgun. And the guards, like, they're asking me about this thing, and I'm like, yeah, it's a shotgun. And they're like, well, what caliber is it? I'm like, it's 12 gauge. What caliber is it? It's a 12 gauge shotgun. But what kind of bullets does it fire? Are you fucking with me? It was so bad. It was so bad. They had people out there inspecting firearms that they didn't know what they were fucking. They didn't realize they were looking at a shotgun when they were looking at a shotgun. When they saw target ammunition there, the target shells, they didn't realize they were looking at shotgun shells. It's like
agency agreement. This has to do with law enforcement, and federal has its own laws and its own laws to enforce. When you come onto the U.S. Post Office and you murder someone, you're going to be going to a federal trial. You're going to be going through like a central or southern or northern district court situation, a criminal court, federally, because you're on federal land. So it's different. So when you have local law enforcement, let me take them away so we can see you. When you have, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong ever, because I don't know everything, but if you have federal law enforcement, they should.
I will correct you when you're wrong.
They should be enforcing federal law. Now, sometimes there are emergency situations.
Well, so what the post office does is it allows them with their agreements that will, so they can actually charge you with the state crime of trespassing on federal property, but it's a state crime, and they can charge you with it. That's how the local law enforcement can enforce these things.
or exigent circumstances type agreements where they will allow the local agencies to come. But typically, they're not properly trained to handle things the same way the feds would want to handle it in the feds' minds. They kind of think they're superior to everyone, as a general rule, from what I've heard from.
Feds think they're superior to everyone as a general rule, from what I've heard. Like, what kind of fucking knowledge do you have on that PI guy?
People that I know, I think it's pretty fair. And I think that because of that, these interagency agreements probably make sense because it makes the federal government feel like they're insulated from any kind of problems because they, both agencies sort of have an understanding. And I have one up on the screen. I can't make it any bigger than it is, unfortunately. Let me see if I can. Is that a little better? And I know I lost you guys on the screen, but now I can at least, hopefully people can see it. So this is an actual agreement. And BZ, do you want to tell us how you found this?
Just found it on.
This is between Spokane County and the city of Spokane Valley. So these are two state law enforcement units, the sheriff and a city which may have its own police force. So actually, no, it doesn't have its own police force. So the city of Spokane Valley could have had its own police force, but instead it made an agreement with the Spokane sheriff to have the sheriff provide law enforcement in the city. Congratulations. Nothing to do with federal.
On just pretty much Googled it in there and found a website that kind of gives you some examples of agencies that have actually filed, and they're on the web. Some of them are as far back as 2001, and I think that one I got there was 2017, which was the newest one. I always seem to find that a lot of these agencies only like list up publicly on their sites like 5 or 7 years back. I can't find them newer.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go. So, by the way, guys, I know he thinks it's no big deal. Like, I know BZ's like, oh, no big deal. I just looked it up on the internet. But really, doing legal research and finding stuff on Google is not that easy for someone who doesn't have legal training. It really.
Well, you would know, apparently, allegedly, Mr. I became an attorney without going to law school. Although are these things, is this really something that you need a law degree to be able to look up? I don't know.
It really takes a lot. And not every, he's kind of a natural at this. So give him some credit, guys. Give me a bunch of ones and thank him for doing this research. And I'm not
like, what have we uncovered? What have we learned? I certainly have lost IQ points by listening to this.
Saying that I could have even found it, but for me to take the time when I'm already struggling to get work done in my practice to do these meetings with you guys is really, really helpful, and it really helps.
Why are you doing these meetings with us, guys? If you haven't gotten all your lawyering work done, sir, are you retarded? Get your lawyering work done. Now, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem for someone like Ehline. If you're someone like me, you're like, hey, I don't have any paralegals. My work is my fucking work. If I'm behind, if I have to work till 8, 9 o'clock at night to get shit done, I'm working till 8, 9 o'clock at night to get shit done, right? There's a reason why you don't see me on here every day, or you might see me here for like, a 5 or 10 minute video that I film in the morning, not really going into anything, but just a quickie, no research, just I'm sitting in my car giving you the back of the envelope kind of analysis on something. And that's because I'm busy. But now if you're a big shot attorney like Darcy or Ehline, you probably have paralegals. You probably have people to do all the little shit work, to do discovery, to respond to discovery. I mean, technically, I have 2 other attorneys working for me, 1099, but I can't really afford to farm out too much because I'm not a big time attorney.
Me share information I know you're never going to learn from anyone else. So what I want to do really quick to give him a bunch of ones and thank him is explain what this is. This is called a interlocal agreement among Spokane County and the Spokane County Sheriff. Okay. Now, you're saying, is this between the post?
Read harder, dude. Read harder. It said it literally in there. It's like the city of Spokane Valley. It's between the Spokane Valley Sheriff and the city of Spokane Valley, or the Spokane County Sheriff and the city of Spokane Valley. Reading is hard, Michael.
post office?
No. That's just like an example of.
Got it. This is an example. Okay, so this is an example of something that the city and the county have, and that
Right. Let me give an example here. And I talked to Ryan about this earlier today. In Texas, there's a town called Coffee City, 250 people population. They had 50 police officers for the city of 250 people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one for every 5 people. That's a lot of cops. But there was a lot of corruption and all kinds of crimes happening and theft of timesheets and people lying about their time actually being there. So the city council decided to disband the police department.
Okay.
Well, now that they don't have a local police department, the next thing they have to do is inside the county is sign an agreement with the sheriff's department with that city, which is something similar to this agreement right here.
You're right. Absolutely, and I agree.
Which has fuck all to do with feds. Has fuck all to do with an agreement between the post office and local PD or local sheriff.
And I'm going to take over because I want to blast through this because this is a great example. This is an example of where the county and the city have to, figure out, because neither one of them has jurisdiction unless it's by agreement. Remember, a municipal corporation is restricted to its municipal corporation agreement, as is the municipal county type corporation. So they're all municipal corporations, and they have to vote on things. And so a local law enforcement agency isn't going to automatically just be able to walk onto federal property, nor do the taxpayers pay them to do that. So they have to basically form what I call a treaty.
Well, so like in California and some other states, like Texas, I believe has the same thing. A peace officer, like a sheriff or a police officer, they have the powers of arrest in the state. Like you're certified in the state, you have the powers of arrest in the state. The memorandum, as far as I understand it, if a city has elected to become a city, that means that it has now basically removed part of itself from the county. I'm not phrasing that well. It has taken over certain functions that would otherwise be handled by the county. One of those would be policing. So in order to get county policing back, they reach an agreement with the county, and they probably have to pay the county to do it, to get the county to come back in and actually patrol that area, because it's no longer the county's problem. It's the city's problem. The sun has switched around. It's doing the old switcheroo. So they probably have to pay for the service, but at the end of the day, it's saying that you will enforce it. It's not saying that if a Spokane sheriff, absent this agreement, if a Spokane sheriff had been following someone, and decided to bust him, and the guy makes a break for that city, it's not like all of a sudden he'd have to stop at the city border. That's not the way it works. State borders, maybe, but usually cities that are like on either side of a state border. Like I watched a chase from Kansas City, Missouri to Kansas City, Kansas, I believe, and it was a big chase. There were hella police cars, and basically what happened is the Kansas City they went from the Missouri side to the Kansas side. The Kansas City, Missouri side continued on, and Kansas City, Kansas police joined in, but they have an agreement that allows them to go across the border there and still function like police officers, which is much more akin to what you'd have to have between a federal enclave and a local police department, as opposed to what this is, this is saying, we want you to come in here and take over all of the law enforcement that would normally be done by the police. You see how it's different? Spokane, the city of Spokane Valley never said, sheriff, you can't enforce the law here. What they're saying is, sheriff, we want you to come in here and actually patrol in here and take over all of the law enforcement duties for this area. And that's what these certain terms and conditions are. So pursuant to which, under certain terms and conditions, the Spokane County Sheriff will provide certain law enforcement services to the city of Spokane Valley. So there is some agreement. They're paying for this service, because normally like if you're not in a city, all of your taxes, all of your county taxes are going to the county. Once you're in a city, the city is now collecting most of those taxes. Maybe they have an agreement with the county to share some or all. Each city and county is going to have a different mix of whatever. So the county's no longer getting paid to have the sheriff go there. All right, this will be real quick. You guys bitch all the time about what music I play, so I figured I'd leave you in silence.
You guys would call an interlocal agreement. I just call it a treaty. You've got these two sovereign agencies, and they're agreeing that they're going to do or not do certain things under this agreement. And this agreement,
no, it's more like a service contract. The city of Spokane Valley was saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you to provide us with law enforcement."
basically, this is very similar to what you would have with a post office. You would have to have your local city council or your local sheriff's department. You probably have to have the sheriff sign off on it. There would probably have to be a study done to make sure, it talks about when it
probably talking out his ass. Like when has Ehline ever been right? When has he ever been right? The times he's been right, I think we can count on one hand.
It's going to start at 12:01. The date of execution, it's going to run through midnight until 2018. And then we're going to have another vote then. And the board has all voted and agreed to it. And, goes through recitals.
Why would you think that? Why do you think it has to be that big of a deal for a post office to have an agreement worked out with local police that, yeah, the local police can fucking enforce laws on the post office? And there are some post offices that aren't on federal property for some reason. I don't remember exactly why, but I've looked it up before. There are some post offices that are accepted from it for some reason, and I don't remember what it is.
The city will mean this, the county purpose of this agreement. So it's got limited purposes, and they're limited in duration and what you can do, when you can terminate.
No. This is a fucking contract, Ehline. You see, they have termination of the agreement, vehicles and equipment. At termination of this agreement, city shall have the option to purchase, subject to agreement of sheriff and county-owned vehicles and or equipment used to provide services. It's basically saying, hey, if for whatever reason we terminate this agreement, i.e., we want to stop paying you for the service, or you want to no longer provide a service, regardless of what we're paying, then we're going to need to buy some police cars. This isn't rocket science, dude.
Made it. So this is the kind of thing, how much they're going to cost. Like if I'm going to come send cops to the post office, you're gonna have to reimburse.
No, it's not. They might have a service agreement worked out. They might have a service agreement worked out. But the post office isn't giving up enforcement at a post office. So it would be more like if the city of Spokane Valley had its own police department, but wanted to supplement it with the sheriff. And said, hey, sheriff, there's this one little area of the city that's, for whatever reason, cut off from the rest. It just makes a lot more sense if you would respond to calls there instead of us. Maybe the sheriff says, sure, we'll do it. Maybe the sheriff says, we'll do it for money. But it's completely different than having a county. So again, remember, the county, when the city was incorporated, the county lost some of the income from that area, because now the city is absorbing that tax money. So the county is getting less. The county was providing law enforcement services for that area, but now the city's there. Basically, in exchange for the taxes, the city has to provide for the law enforcement. But the city says, you know what? We want to buy your services to actually like patrol and respond to calls here. Now, the post office isn't necessarily giving up they didn't give up the city or the county didn't give up taxes to allow that post office to go in. They didn't have a choice. I don't even know why I'm explaining. Like, so there may be some the agreement might have some costs associated with it. They may provide the local police some or the sheriff monies. They may not. It would really depend on what the fucking agreement said. They can enter into agreements with state and local enforcement agencies to ensure these rules and regulations are enforced in a manner that will protect postal service property. So we'd have to look at the actual one of the actual agreements.
Reimburse me. This ain't going to be free, bub, or whatever it might be. There's going to be a billing procedure. How are you going to pay us if we do have to send the cops out?
It's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, haven't you ever done a contract?
Penalties for not paying us. See all that, guys?
Yeah, so
Assignment
Mike,
of-
it almost sounds like an alarm and security company.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah, it's a contract. It's a fucking contract.
I don't want to have to keep showing the whole thing. But what I wanted to point out, everybody, is that
Cops are really rent-a-cops. Ain't that right, Ryan? Come on, admit it. Oh.
But what I want,
kind of like that alarm call earlier today with that agreement.
what I
So when the federal government acquires state land by buying it or condemning it without the state's consent, i.e., if it just says that it wants to, if it says if they're like, hey, the federal government's like, I want to open up a post office in this strip mall, so they talk to the owner of the strip mall and they're like, okay, we'll rent this section of the strip mall out to be a post office. Then the state continues to be able to enforce state law on it. So we would have to look to see whether how that particular post office came into being. For if the federal government purchases state lands with the consent of the state legislature, i.e., they say we want to buy this land from you, state. The date of the acquisition is key to this is defendermanuals.sog.unc.edu. So University of North Carolina, something or the other. So when the federal government purchases state lands for property acquired before 1887, the type of jurisdiction depends on language of the legislative act giving consent to the federal government to acquire the land. For property acquired between 1887 and 1905, the federal government has exclusive jurisdiction. For property acquired between 1905 and 1907, concurrent federal and state jurisdiction exists. For property acquired between 1907 and 1940, the federal government once again has exclusive jurisdiction. During the time periods before 1940, blah, blah, blah. After 1940 and before May 27, 2005, when the federal government acquired land with the consent of the state legislature, the federal government does not automatically attain jurisdiction over criminal cases. Instead, they must have affirmatively asserted jurisdiction over the site. So, what they're assuming is that every post office is a federal enclave, that state law doesn't apply. And I'm going to guess that is not the case. Because again, if the federal government just rents a space without going to the state assembly and saying, hey, can we get this property? They just say, hey, landowner, can we rent this space? The landowner says, sure. The state legislature hasn't agreed to anything. So the state, because it is sovereign, continues to be able to exercise its jurisdiction over the criminal laws in that area. But I'm still waiting for this group defamation thing to be hammered out.
What I wanted to point out is that you have a situation here where you can have an agreement between the state and the federal government, which is its own government, like an embassy almost. But there's going to be.
But what about the instances like I just mentioned, where the state can still exercise its jurisdiction because of the manner in which the federal government acquired that post office?
A process for that, and the reason being is because who's going to reimburse the police department? Who's going to reimburse the city or the county or the state if they're going to be doing law enforcement on a federal facility, and vice versa? And so BZ, yeah, that's right, and he found that really cool form.
Who here thinks that BZ Watchdog pays taxes? Like any appreciable amount of taxes. Oh yeah, he buys something and he pays sales taxes or whatever. But like, do you think he is a net taxpayer, like income tax? Do you think that he pays any money net, or do you think that he is just purely sucking off the system?
Now, I invite all of you guys who are watching this to please try and do legal research on your own like that. Obviously, you're doing it for.
Well, I mean, here's the problem, Ehline. If you, a practicing attorney, are this incompetent at it, then why would you encourage other people to do it who are not even attorneys? And why do you think this is legal research? It doesn't really feel like legal research to me.
Educational reasons, not to try to use in a lawsuit or go and file something. No, to learn how to do research, to learn how to do research. Educate yourself so you know what lawyers are doing, and you kind of saw what he did. Try to find one. Try to find an agreement, or better yet, tune in next week, and then because BZ and I are going to do a show on how to.
But let's assume that you cannot find an agreement. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to go there and make a scene? Get arrested? Get thrown in jail? Yelling the whole time that this is unconstitutional and you haven't seen an agreement? I mean, you're taking a hell of a risk. Taking a hell of a risk.
How to do a FOIA and how to do a local Freedom of Information Act style request, so you can start getting and asking for this information. So you can start becoming active yourselves instead of sitting on the sidelines looking at somebody who's got 200,000 followers who doesn't know what the heck they're doing. Like, start learning how to do it yourself and come on here and get educated and learn.
Yeah. So Edwin, he has a camera and a computer. He probably paid taxes on those, sales taxes. His clothes, he probably paid sales taxes on. I don't know if he owns or rents. My guess from his bulk would be that he rents. He doesn't look like the kind of guy who's motivated to get out there and make enough money to be able to afford a home. But maybe he lives in an area of the country where it's dirt cheap. Maybe he inherited. Who knows? So maybe he does pay some property taxes. But I'm just on his income taxes. He just seems like a net taker. He seems like the kind of guy who's going to get more money back than he paid in, if you catch my drift. That is true. That is true.
Sure. And so basically,
and with Ehline's general understanding of defamation laws, why would I be at all concerned about him? Obviously, I know what they are. I mean, I pulled up Casey and I went through the general elements with you of what he would have to prove if he wants to sue me, because I guess he does want to sue me. And by the way, if you want to send your summons and complaint with a notice and acknowledgement of receipt to me at my law office, I will sign the notice and acknowledgement of receipt and send it back to you. So no. So like I've talked about this before, but but Chili, I would go out to dinner with Chili. I'd whatever, have a drink with him, what have you. He seems like he'd be interesting. Ehline is the opposite of interesting. So why would you do that? I just don't understand that. Like, why would you get involved with something like that? Why would you slow down the process? Why would you distract the paramedics from, I don't know, their job of saving someone's life? It seems It seems like a shitty thing to do. You know the whole golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Would you want, to have some fat useless fuck irritating and annoying and bothering the paramedics while they were attempting to save your life? Is that something you would want them to do? Now that's not where the analysis ends, but that's a good place to start any analysis. Would you enjoy that? Or would you be more concerned about your health? And would you think that guy's a son of a bitch for interfering? I'm assuming he interfered. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I was getting arrested or something, I would want someone to film, just to make sure that nothing untoward happens. Not that I'm suggesting anything would, but body cameras can be lost or not turned on or whatever. And there have been numerous instances. Oh, well, good. All right then. Why would anybody watch that content? What's wrong with you people that you would watch someone filming paramedics from across the street in their car? What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people?
American Texan, you are saying that apparently, at least on some of the duties that you did, there were agreements like that between federal and state or local agencies. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us about that.
I mean, even so much to the fact that we had one that was the post office was in a city-owned building. So figure out how to get that one, right? So who has jurisdiction?
Federal?
No, most likely the city would.
The minute the federal agency leased it, it became a public forum for the post office.
It became a public forum. It became a public forum for the post office. It became a public forum for the post office. I'm sure Michael Ehline's going to step in there and say, BZ Watchdog, you're dumb as dog shit and you look like a pile of it. How about you shut your fucking mouth because you don't know what the hell you're talking about?
No, I would agree with that. Is that
He says, no, I would agree with that. Oh, my fucking sweet Jesus. Oh.
just inside it, or does that include curtilage around it?
I would say inside the building, just where the length of the building is, in the doorway and out the doorway.
It depends.
Why would you say that? Like, what are you basing that on? You're just fucking making shit up as you go. You have no knowledge of this, you fat fuck. Jesus Christ.
It depends on the curtilage too. I mean, if it's fenced, obviously that.
If the curtilage is fenced, apparently that changes everything.
That's going to be different.
Okay, so how about it's a walkway where it's just 4 steps and a big stoop where a bunch of homeless people like to hang out?
Right, there's going to have to be. Yeah, it's going to be hard to know. Yeah,
it's not really tricky. What did you do? Did you enforce city law there? Didn't you? Didn't you, angry Texan? You did, didn't you?
That's why they have them.
That makes sense, and that's why those agreements, I think, are so well defined. You saw that thing; it was 30 pages, and it spells out everything.
Time to look up other stuff.
Excuse me, Peyton's 5-head. He is a force recon Marine. Force recon. You show some respect.
I'm finding out there's all kinds of other terms. It's not just extra jurisdictional agreements. Yeah. You got, what was the one you used?
Well, there's interagency, interjurisdictional. The thing is look, every jurisdiction, you got state and federal. Like, for example, in New York, they'll call a superior court, an unlimited jurisdiction superior court, the Supreme Court. Well, in California, we only have one Supreme Court, and it's our highest court. And we call superior courts of unlimited jurisdiction superior court. And then we have like a limited jurisdiction court, which is sort of like the old municipal courts that handle like traffic infractions and like a traffic court, that kind of thing. But
no, we don't. No, we don't. We only have superior courts. Superior courts, courts of appeal, and the Supreme Court. Now, that's like saying probate court is is a court of limited jurisdiction because, you only do probate cases there. But it's still the Superior Court, state of California. Is it in the Constitution? Was it a constitutional change? Legislative, judicial. This is the California Constitution, Article 4, Judicial, Section 1. The judicial power of the state is vested in the Supreme Court, courts of appeal, and superior courts, all of which are courts of record. There is no lesser court, which fucking boggles me. Fucking boggles me how he would suggest that there is some lesser court, a traffic court. Let's listen to what this dumbass said again.
Court, and it's our highest court, and we call superior courts of unlimited jurisdiction superior court. And then we have like a limited jurisdiction court, which is sort of like the old municipal courts that handle like traffic.
Oh, you hurt my brain, Michael Ehline. You hurt my brain. California used to have municipal courts. California used to have municipal courts. When did California eliminate municipal court? In 1998, California voters passed a constitutional amendment that provided for a voluntary unification of the superior municipal courts in each county into a single countywide trial court system. By January of 2001, all 58 counties had voted to unify their municipal and superior court operations. This is from California Courts or courts.ca.gov. The level of stupid that it takes to be an attorney and not realize that there is only Superior Court, Courts of Appeal, and Supreme Court in California is, I don't understand. Oh, hey, it's the good Josh. Hi, good Josh. I won't say Happy Memorial Day to you. I've been a very good boy, Josh. I've been a very good boy, and I have, because you asked that no one say Happy Memorial Day, I have been such a good point, and I have not once said Happy Memorial Day. So I just want you to realize how good I've been in not saying Happy Memorial Day. And it's just for you, okay? It was just for you, Josh, because I love and respect you that much. So
traffic infractions, like a traffic court, that kind of thing. But so they all serve a similar or almost identical purpose, but they might have a different name. So like, for example, in California, we might call it a depublished case. In a federal jurisdiction in Louisiana, they might call it an unpublished case. But either way, it's going to be treated the same if you try to cite it for any kind of real authority, unless you really have like some rare situation. So let's see.
What are we on now? We're back on this. We're back on this DPub bullshit. And I'm only a first year family law attorney. But I have never heard it called DPub. That it might be a Southern California thing. So I don't know, but I mean, we've seen on my channel how many of these memorandums and things like that that have been published or that have been filed in federal court that have cited to unpublished cases.
I'll mess you up even more. So I don't know about Nevada and California, but do you have county cops going into the city to enforce laws?
Yeah, in fact, they have primary jurisdiction. Like in LA, the LA County Sheriff overlaps into any municipal corporation. So they basically are like the top dogs if they want to be, and then the state police would be over them.
The LASD provides municipal police services to the unincorporated communities and 42 of the 88 cities within Los Angeles County. 42 of the 88. That's not all. That's 42 of the 88, which is quick math, less than half.
So when I was in Virginia,
and then the state police would be over them.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of how. So when I was in
state police, wait, what?
If they want to be, and then the state police would be over them.
Like, what do you mean be over them? I don't even understand that. What do you mean be over them? Does this? I'm not a cop, and I don't understand cop things. But the California Highway Patrol, California's state police, they have jurisdiction to make arrests and enforce the law anywhere in California. Their agency goes anywhere within California. But it's not like they're going to roll up on a LASD traffic stop and be like, "No, bro, I'm taking over." Like it's the level of stupidity, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know what he's trying to say there, but I don't know why he would think that the state police have some sort of a jurisdiction or control over the LASD.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of how. So when I was in Virginia, the county rarely came into the city. Like, it was just one of those deals.
They can, but they can't. But again, if you look at the city,
they can't. Why can't they? Why can't they? Why can't they? He's extrapolating from an agreement that basically, for money, required a county sheriff, to come in and enforce the laws in a city, i.e. patrol it. He's extrapolating from that to, if there is no agreement, then the sheriff can't come in. If there is an agreement, he's required to, doesn't mean that if there's no agreement, he's required to stay away. It just means he's not required to come in.
In county budgets and where it is, the size of the forces, they may not want to. They already got their own municipal PD. We're not going in there. We can raise plenty of revenue out in the rural areas.
The old grifter thing where it's all about raising revenues. Well, I've looked into this before, and I understand that there are some places where allegedly a large part of the city or county's budget comes from policing, but it is on average more expensive to have police than not. Police are generally speaking a money sink, not a revenue stream.
Having to go into the city, you know, and you
Yeah,
got,
but-
yeah.
So you've got one post office, and you can have jurisdiction for I don't know what 5 different agencies in one place. Because so if you
What in the fuck is going on here? What the fuck did I miss? Linda said brownies with cherry pie filling and whipped cream, chocolate chips, and weed. And then we get this. Huh? What? what's what's going on? What's going on? Linda mentioned Roy, Chili's cellmate. She mentioned Roy. How far back was that? Oh, he'll be busy with Roy. So that must mean that that Roy would be raping him, or would he be raping Roy? Which is it? Which do you think it is? Amazon. Is any interaction between two men rape? I don't know. Linda, maybe you did mean rape, which would be pretty sucky. I mean, you should never wish rape on anybody. But I don't know. There's a lot of clinging, grasping for more meaning than I see readily apparent. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't rape the willing, right? Anyway, I got to get through this stupid thing. Do I have to get through this? Like, are you guys done? Like, have I shamed Ehline enough with this one? Or does he eventually come around and like break it down for us about how you can sue the federal government for group defamation? Never enough shame.
you go with SA in San Antonio, right? You got
Yeah.
San Antonio, you got Bexar County Sheriff, you got the Bexar County Constable's Office, then you've got the SAPD, then you've got federal, DHS. I mean, they're all here. They're all
immigration.
Yep. Well, so
Health
ICE
and
actually has a field office here, and they have an investigations unit here too. So they go on drug busts and do interdiction and all kinds of stuff.
That makes sense. So you can see everybody.
So here was my question about it, because mostly from what I understand, USPS doesn't have their own canine units, and they would hire from agencies, you know, like off-duty gigs. They would have somebody come in for $50 an hour to, you know, go sniff packages.
Yeah.
So would they all have to have the same extra jurisdictional agreement? If he does, you know, indicate or you know, say, hey, you know, the dog said.
The problem with this is that that we're already starting off with a hypothetical here. Hypothetically speaking, the post office doesn't have canines. Well, do they need canines, or do they have machines that can detect these substances, etc.? But he's making an assumption without any knowledge. I mean, he hasn't worked for the post office. He's been a cop. Was he hired? Was he canine? Did he get hired to bring a dog in there to drug sniff for $50 an hour?
Says this box. Who do they call? Do they need to call the federals, or you know, the federales?
Yep.
The feds or what? Who are they calling?
They're going to call.
Who are they calling for what? I mean, in your weird hypothetical, they would probably call it would lie under the federal postal inspector. The postal inspectors would have jurisdiction over that. If someone is mailing letters, it would be the postal inspector and then the FBI, because it would be probably some sort of an interstate crime to do that. So yeah, that's who they probably call. The FBI would probably take over for the federal the postal inspectors.
Well, whoever they can.
The general office, those guys investigate, like, and a lot of them aren't sworn either. They investigate like shady postmen.
Yeah.
I asked this previously, but I wonder how much insulin does it take on a daily basis to keep BZ operational? Because I know this motherfucker has got, I mean, he has got to be diabetic. You can't be that fat and not be diabetic. I mean, look at him, dude.
No, you're right. I get it, but without an interjurisdictional or interagency type of relationship, it is a problem because the local.
It's not gay if you've only sucked one dick, right? Am I right? That's not gay, right? If you just suck one dick. Well, what if you suck one dick, but you've sucked it multiple times? Is that gay? I mean, is it the number of dicks you sucked or the number of times you sucked dick? Which one is it?
Municipal authorities don't want to do it. They're not getting paid for it. The federal government's not going to issue them a check for showing up. And
well, you assume it's a check for showing up, but what if it's a check for, I don't know, responding to calls as needed? What if it's just a flat fee that they're paying? Or what if, and I'm going out on a limb here, what if the post office just rented the space and so state jurisdiction still applies, and so the city police or the sheriff have to show up and enforce the law there because state laws still apply? What about in that situation?
I think that a lot of the local jurisdictions probably want those agreements more than the post office does.
But what if they're small dicks? All right. What if these aren't your 8 inchers, your 10 inchers? What if these are like 1.5-inchers? All right. Is it the total? Is it the total? Like, I mean, if you've sucked one 8-inch dick, is that the same thing as sucking like 4 2-inch dicks? I mean, and what if you're just doing a topper? You know, what if you're just licking the tip? All right. How much of that would it take? And that's another question that I have. Okay. So if it's not gay, if it's in a 3-way, what if it's 3 dudes? Then is it gay? Or does the third dude cancel out? I've heard as long as you don't make eye contact, it's not gay. These are the important questions of our time. All right.
The post office, I believe the postmaster generals do allow it.
I believe
they do have armed personnel there. The postal.
I think they do have armed personnel there.
Inspectors. I think they're armed.
Well, you do a lot of thinking without a lot of knowing.
I mean,
police.
You put it in the comments.
The police, the inspectors are. I don't think the inspectors are police.
I mean, put it in the comments.
They have law enforcement capacity. Postal inspectors and other persons designated may likewise enforce regulations. Pretty sure. Well, let's just Google it. U.S. Postal Inspector. United States Postal Inspection Service. Is the federal law enforcement arm of the United States Postal Service. Federal law enforcement sounds like law enforcement. I don't know. 2 seconds of Googling? Why? Oh, I wish I wasn't. I wish I wasn't. Ain't nothing gay about getting your dick sucked, though.
Yeah.
Put it in the comments if you guys know. Does the federal government, like, does the post office have like a security guard arrangement? Or
yes, they also have postal security guards. You know this because they have the U.S. Postal Security Force. Crazy.
Most of them just have does anybody have a copy of one of these interagency federal state local cop shoot me a link, give it to Basil. I want to share it with everybody because that's really interesting. Yeah, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for the cops showing up?
But again, you're operating under some assumptions that might not be borne out by the facts. They might not have to, because again, it might be some place that is just being rented by the post office or leased by the post office, and so the state jurisdiction still applies.
How do you do that? Have you ever dealt with that before, Ryan?
Who's got to pay for it?
So I mean, on the street, most we've dealt with is homeless people going and being, oh, you know what, they would, yeah, we would kick people out. Now the other question is, so city would have to have barring authority, right? So to bar somebody off of that premises, but they would have to get that from the inspector general. Is what you're saying?
No. Here's the fun fact: is that in Texas, someone with apparent authority can trespass you from property. So if the post office or if one of the postal employees tells the cop that person is trespassed, then you're trespassed. The city doesn't have to have barring authority. The cop can then issue a citation, a trespass warning or whatever.
So I mean, I really hope we had it. Otherwise,
Yeah, well,
literally broke federal law, right?
Well, right, and then also, even if there wasn't a law broken, if the
that ring light thing, is that what you're talking about? Chile uses those too. I don't know who all does those, but yeah. Do you like my ring light? It's a ball of fire. It's really bright. I haven't adjusted the settings on my ring light. Well, those glasses, they're supposed to block out the blue if you spend a lot of time looking at the screen. If you get those glasses, it's supposed to reduce eye strain or something. I have a friend who was in the Marines, believe it or not. But he's a big time nerd, and he does tech stuff, and so he's on a computer all day, and he wears those because it really helps his eyes to keep from getting tired. So apparently they work. I know someone who uses those, who isn't gay. He's got a wife and kids. I mean, maybe he still sucks dick. I don't know, but he doesn't seem gay. So I'm gonna give him a pass on those glasses, and they might have a prescription in them too. They might be both blue blocker and whatever. It'd be really sad though if he was wearing those to reduce eye strain and to help him read better, because his reading comprehension is really shit.
The local cop showed up and they had to respond to a scene and spend a lot of resources, how would that be reimbursed? Like how would you do that? Have you ever seen or heard of anything like that during your time out there, like where somebody has to get reimbursed?
Oh, yeah, you want to talk about the way money goes? The last big riot we had.
Yeah, who pays for that? Yeah.
So it starts off. It has to start off at the state level, and they have to request for an emergency to be declared, and then they can request funds.
Okay, so
these Jesus Christ. Different subject entirely.
Basically, it would be a situation where you would go to the cops and say there was an emergency, and you go to the state first, or would you go to the?
No, he's talking about like a disaster, like disaster relief funds from the federal government. If the governor declares a disaster, then the state can request funds from the federal government to help clean up or whatever. This has nothing to do with arresting a motherfucker at a goddamn post office, you fucking cretins.
Federal government first.
I don't know. So usually when we have big stuff go on, right, it would go state first. So I think McAuliffe at the time was the one who declared a state of emergency. And I mean, they had the state, I want to call them a militia, but they're not, the state army, the National Guard there. We had state police, city police. In the next couple of years they did it. I mean, we had them coming from other cities. So I really don't know how that works because there's been a lot of instances. You take when Katrina went through Louisiana, you had cops.
I will bet you that what BZ has is he probably has his computer up above him. And he's probably like reclined back so he can just not move his fat blob at all. So he's probably looking at a computer screen up there.
And federal officers from here going there to enforce laws.
Yep.
I mean, how do they get away with doing those on the fly?
Yeah, I guess the real problem is, here we would have
Well, so the why so high part is probably so he could lean back and just veg out. I mean, you're probably not wrong, Laura.
state and federal one where you'd have to go directly to the federal government, I guess, to try to get reimbursement. And they could always turn around and go, we had no agreement with you. What are you doing sending cops over there? Like, it could become a problem depending on who the city council is, depending on if it's a liberal or conservative in their mindset. See what I mean? Like, there's no uniformity in how any of this stuff gets handled. So I could see why, like, Long Island Audits and these other guys are like, well, where's the agreement? Where's it spelled out? I mean, I want you guys to do FOIA requests and try to get some copies of these agreements. I think that would be a really great way to learn more about your rights and how these things are really handled. Now, really quick, Shock Prof says, get a hold of Russell, like Just Gold, David Windmiller's partner, Grand Master about postal companies. I'll check it out. I'll do my best to try to understand what you mean, but if I need more clarification, I'll ask for it. All right. So BZ, now you've done some audits at the post office, right? I think I saw you do one.
I've done one. I think I've done 3.
Yeah. And now generally, you hear a lot of people say, well, there's this thing on the wall that says you're not allowed to film. And I wanted you to kind of tell us, like,
oh, they're going to start talking about poster 7. I don't think we're ever going to get an answer on the defamation, but I think I made it pretty clear what it is. I'm done. This is stupid. I can only handle so much stupidity. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.